And we're here. All right. Man, didn't think I'd be back so soon. All right. First off, where's my background at? Can't have that. There we go. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and just get straight into it, right? Because we don't want to waste any time. Don't want to waste any time. Okay, so what's been going on? I know I said that I was only gonna, if I was gonna be streaming during the week, right? It was gonna be the fix stuff, but there was quite a bit of stuff that just was happening that warrants some attention. With the first one being this goddamn document case, the one case that was like the strongest, most damning thing against Donald Trump and things that he's done has been officially dismissed. Right now, Jack Smith has said he's going to appeal it, of course, right? And I am going to lean on the side of it's probably going to win appeal, and the upper courts are probably not only like get the case back going, but then kick Cannon off for good. One thing's for sure though, now that case is definitely not happening before the election. So this is exactly what. So regardless, Trump wins. All right. Because if he wins the presidency, then of course, then he's just gonna have the Justice Department just dismiss that whole thing. Because of all the other things that he's done, that Florida document case, I'm telling you, right, that's the one that's like, if it was in front of a judge and jury, like he's going to jail, like 1000%. He's not going to be found not guilty. There's no way. But let's actually explore the order. So before I go over the order, though, let's oh yeah, probably I'm going to want to actually open up my chat thing so I could actually see what everybody is saying. Hold on. Excuse me. Let's come on, little chat thing. There it goes. Opening up my other monitor here. And cool. Enabled. Throw you here. Oh, why can't I? There you go. Make you thick. I wish it didn't remind me. How did I feel about my mic? I wish it didn't remind me of like a robot penis, but other than that, it seems pretty cool. Robin, what's going on, Robin? A long time no see. How you been? Yeah, we did. We yeah, the Trump assassin thing is crazy. That assassin was on him, but those snipers was all on it. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I got it. I was doing a lot of research, and it looks cool to a degree, and it sounds great. So, yeah, no, we was but yeah, Robert, we was did we talk about the assassin stuff a bit? I think we did. My brain is like all mushy from all the different stuff that's just been going on, fam. So, like now I'm about to like go over this document case. That is just fake. Secret Service threw fake blood on his ear. Well, I think. I guess we'll figure out then like what they do when the hearing comes up, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, the Republican what is it? What the hell is the name of that committee? But whatever, the oversight committee have them scheduled to talk about what happened Thursday. So I'm curious to what degree they'll go over it. I mean, a lot of people were going to vote for Trump regardless. I said him being shot at doesn't necessarily change anything for me. So I still gotta wait and see how the second debate goes, and then the really figure out like if there's anything worth supporting on his side versus Biden's. So we'll see. It's all about the policies. Where's my Firefox here? That's all right. Like this document case that was now dismissed, for example, is like one of the major reasons why I lean against voting for Trump. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, what's the Cannon order Florida case? Right. I want the actual official document or the official order. Probably. Um, Probably. Let's see. Public consciousness. I mean, yeah, a lot of people were. A lot of people sit there and you know trying to kill these people for a while now. Don't forget about the Hammer guy. You don't remember Mr. Hammerman? That went after Pelosi's husband. Like this is I mean, ain't nothing that's particularly new. And then how I'm doing, I'm tired, okay? Because I didn't like what we were streaming until like what 3ish in the morning when I wanted to cut it off earlier than that, and then I couldn't even fall asleep. So it wasn't until like 6 in the morning that I actually fell asleep, only to get up like an hour or so later because then obviously I gotta go to work. So, um, okay. So let us get. I want the official court order. All right, I'm not about to sit here and run through any articles here. Cannon court order Florida case. Please. Pelosi's husband's gay lover. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one. Maybe could have been. It could have very well been staged. Maybe Maybe they're arguing about something about like when he was gonna finally like divorce her so that they can run away, right? Um, that'd be a good conspiracy story for sure. Classified documents case. Judge dismisses. Is this it? Come on. Oh, why can't I just go? Do I really need? I don't know like the actual website for Florida's court thing, and I don't want to have to sit there and try to search through it. Why don't these people actually? Oh, here we go. We're right. Would this be it? I think this might be it right here. Right, ruling. Let me see. Look like the PDF. I see the word PDF on it. Boom. Wait, 93 pages? You're kidding me. There's no goddamn way. There is no way. I'm debating right now in my brain. What section can I read? She's really about to sit here, bro. I'm not about to hit. I'm not opposed to reading long documents, but my freaking god, I'm not doing this right now, bro. She wrote 94 pages, bruv. Why? Historical practice. They don't have this shit bookmarked. They don't have a bookmark on this. No, of course not. It'd be too goddamn easy, right? Well, I'll read. Okay, I guess we'll just read just the very first section because it looks like the first section will have everything we just need. All right. We may read the rest of this someday, but like I honestly, I feel like it'd be a waste of time just because I'm fairly certain it's just gonna get overturned in the upper courts anyway. So she's saying there's an appointment clause violation. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll get reading. Wonderful. Uh, were you at the point where you don't believe anything? Hey, I don't necessarily blame you. Some stuff be like pretty damn extraordinary when you actually try to listen to it. Because I think like Hunter buying his lats, I think was like the craziest story. I just had a hard time wrapping my mind around. But all right, let's go ahead and let's read this case. But before we do that, right? Isn't it Clarence Thomas? We need to actually read Clarence Thomas's opinion in the Supreme Court decision. And the reason why that's actually important is simply because okay, hold on. Let me just because I need to actually be able to see what I'm looking at. Um, because he was the one that actually made some mention. I recall people saying that he made some mention about the special counsel not being uh even legal to begin with, and that's probably what she was the green signal, right, to sit there and then throw the whole thing in the shambles with Cannon. So let me see resources, stream research, Supreme Court. Here we go. Here we go to PDF document. Okay, now we have everything we need. Now I just need to find Clarence. How the hell you spell this man's name? Oh, jeez. All right, it's Clarence. No, okay, that's what I thought. Clarence. Oh, do they not? Or what? Does the PDF document just like that sucky that it doesn't? Yeah, I spelled it right, right? Yeah, I did. God, so that means I gotta search for it. Of course. Please tell me does Thomas at least work? Thomas Jefferson comes through. Thomas Alito. Thomas J. Oh, okay. So I see what they did. They don't give their first names. So let's see. Trump also announced his running mate. He's from Yale Law School, so I'm kind of jealous. Oh yeah, the Ohio guy. Yeah, the Ohio guy. He did an amazing 180 because like all the clips of him saying that he was a never Trumper and stuff like that cropped it immediately up, and I was just like, this is great. This is just fantastic stuff here. Let's see. It's for sure Trump will win. Hopefully the economy improves a little. Um, we'll see. I don't know if it's a for sure thing that Trump will win, but we'll have to see what happens, right? His vice president said that his vice president pick now has said that if he was in that position that Mike Pence was in, he would have sent those electors back. So yep, definitely would have definitely would have threw chaos into the entire democratic process. Oh wait, do I have the names wrong? Thomas J. Am I crazy? Thomas J. Supreme Court. Who the hell is that, right? Is there not another Thomas on the Supreme Court? Hold on. Here we go. Let me see. Thomas. I just because I'm curious then, like, because if there's like two Thomases on there, do they just throw in like their initials? That's probably what they do. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get back to it. Okay, but it's Clarence Thomas, right? And it's just does somebody else have a name like that though, like with the J? I would have thought that was like his first initial. I guess not. Oh well. All right. So we're gonna read this. We'll read what Cannon did, and then we'll move on to probably finishing the Destiny video if we don't find anything to just look at prior to that. Trump's resume is impressive. Marine and law school. Oh yeah, probably. I know very little, if any, about him, and of course, the clip chimp machine on the internet started just pumping out clips. Which I did not even bother to even like watch like that. I just because of the autoplay thing, I just remember seeing one where they just had him saying he was a never Trumper, kind of deal. But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, you seem like you pick a solid, loyal guy, for sure. So. However that plays out, I guess we'll look and see. But man, what is it? July? It's July. How many months we got left? Well, we're halfway through July. Today's the 15th of July, so we're officially, technically halfway through. August, September, October, November. Man, we got 4 more months to D-Day. 4 more months, guys, or less than like about 4 more months. Oh my God, man! Save up your money. All right, don't go to no movies. Right? Don't go to no fast food restaurants. I strongly suggest from now till then you save up your money. You don't know what you might need to shell out some money to buy come November. Let's see. Most legit Republicans were never Trumpers. Paul Ryan was too. Yeah, where the hell is Paul Ryan? You know something? Let's get a quick Google. And then we'll get to reading the document. Where in God's name is Paul Ryan? Oh, is this? Oh, does he still have the tag Speaker Ryan? Is this still him? Office of the 54th President Speaker. April 30th, March 28th. Oh, yeah, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't, at least not on that. But where is Paul Ryan? Here you go, his Facebook. It could be a fan page, though. Oh, here. Oh, this might be something. April. Let's see. He got his pension and got out of politics. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would have most certainly did the same thing for sure. Paul, you are the biggest traitor in America and the reason we are in this mess. You were the one person preventing President Trump's agenda early on. You suck. Oh yeah, October 4th, 2020. Oh yeah, my man, peace the hell out, man. That's crazy. You don't hear, see nothing about this man anymore. Let's see, May 8th, 2024. Former House Speaker Paul Ryan this week doubled down on his claim that he would not vote for Donald Trump this November, reasserting his position to the other former president just 2 months before he's set to accept the Republican nomination in Milwaukee. Okay, so at least he's still communicating, so people at least know he's still alive. When he'd asked if he'd vote for Trump in November, character is too important to me, and it's a jab that requires the kind of character he just doesn't have. Okay, well, at least Paul Ryan is still a man. I give him that. He is still a man. See, he only has a bachelor's too, no law degree. Oh, you talking about the VP guy, the Trump's VP? He only has a bachelor's degree and not a law degree. That's pretty cool. Because all of them either politics or is either not politics, either like legal or military. But all right, we're officially done. Now let's go ahead and let's read this. Then we're gonna read this. We're gonna then read what Cannon said, just to her beginner part, because I'm not about to read 94 pages, and then we're gonna move on to something else. Paul Ryan, Trump's VP has a Yale law degree. He's legit. Oh well, we'll see. We got to see what he does once he's actually, if he ends up being the actual vice president of the U.S. Hopefully he'll be more publicly visible than Kalama is. So we'll see. With that being said, let's get started. Few things would threaten our constitution order more than criminally prosecuting a former president for his official acts. Fortunately, the Constitution does not permit us to chart such a dangerous course. As the court forcefully explains, the framers deemed an energetic executive as essential to the security of liberty, and our system of separated powers accordingly insulates the president from prosecution for his official acts. Citation: to conclude otherwise would hamstring the vigorous executive that our Constitution envisions. While the separation of powers may prevent us from righting every wrong, it does so in order to ensure that we do not lose liberty. Another citation: I write separately to highlight another way in which this prosecution may violate our constitutional structure. In this case, the Attorney General purported to appoint a private citizen as special counsel to prosecute a former president on behalf of the United States. But I am not sure that any office for the special counsel has been established by law. As the Constitution requires, Article 2, this citation, by requiring that Congress create federal offices by law. The Constitution imposes an important check against the president. He cannot create offices at his pleasure. If there is no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies, then he cannot proceed with this prosecution. A private citizen cannot criminally prosecute anyone, let alone a former president. No former president has faced criminal prosecution for his acts while in office in the more than 200 years since the founding of our country. Okay. So what I understand so far is he's making the argument that, right, the Constitution says that only Congress basically can create an office, right? That's how you had your things like the IRS, the EPA, all those offices actually made. And he's saying that, well, the Justice Department, the special counsel, what is it, Office of Special Counsel? Is that what he is saying? Let me see here. Because that means I'm gonna have to actually go look up how did the special counsel thing actually survive previous court challenges, because it seemed like the last couple of times we had a Supreme Court, the last time we had a couple of special counsels, right, they've all been challenged and they've all survived the court. So I wonder what he's going to say that contradicts any of the other reasons why the courts didn't obviously like bring that up. Let's see. Any office for the special counsel has been established by law. He says any office. Well, hold on. Isn't he any office for the special counsel? But isn't the special counsel working on behalf of the Department of Justice? So isn't it? Okay, well, let's keep reading because I can already see kind of the flaw in that a little bit, but I need to keep reading to see if I really understand what's being said here. All right. And we were right here. Founding of our country. Okay. And that is so despite numerous past presidents taking actions that many would argue constitute crimes. If this unprecedented prosecution is to proceed, it must be conducted by someone duly authorized to do so by the American people. Okay, so I am right. So I didn't even have to read far to even just confirm like what my initial suspicions are. So Congress made the IRS. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the IRS, the EPA, and all those other agencies create those federal institutions? Because like, the executive branch, so the president can't just like crop up or he can't just like produce a whole new office that has to be like government funded. Like all that exclusively is supposed to be Congress. So let me see. So statute, right? Creating, excuse me, gotta stay near the mic. Creating the IRS, right? Statutory authority. Oh, cool. They have it right there on their website. Statutory authority. The IRS is organized to carry out responsibilities of the Secretary of the Treasury under Section 7801 of the Internal Revenue Code. The Secretary has full authority to administer and enforce their internal revenue laws and has the power to create an agency to enforce these laws. All right. So it says here, we'd have to pull up what it is. Section 7803 of the Internal Revenue Code provides for the appointment of a commissioner of internal revenue to administer and supervise the execution and application of the internal revenue laws. So section 7803. All right. Commissioner. Yeah, it's an actual statute, right? So this was passed by Congress. So that's what I'm saying. Like all these 3-letter agencies, like the FBI, the CIA, the president, or the executive branch did not create these. Like these are all created by Congress. This is what the Supreme Court justice is saying, right? That like no agency and no office can be created by the president. It has to be Congress. But I feel like the IRS and Federal Reserve are unconstitutional. The Treasury should be issuing money backed by gold and silver. Maybe, but I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of people that, at least on the IRS side, like we were going over, right? Some time ago, right? All those people that try to argue that the IRS isn't real or there's no law to tax stuff, the court hasn't sided on that side. So as of right now, unless somebody else wants to challenge it and somehow makes its way to the Supreme Court, it looks like it's going to be pretty legitimate. But now regarding the special counsel, right? I don't think there's an office or anything like that being created by the Department of Justice. I think they're literally just hiring an attorney. I think they're literally just hiring a prosecutor, like a lawyer, anybody with basically a law degree, who is bar certified. So that means they could practice law and they probably specialize in criminal law, is being hired or contracted by the Department of Justice to then do the investigation and then eventual prosecution, right? Because it's not like, yeah, it's not like, yeah, I don't understand like how would they even make that argument for something like that. I definitely would have to see like how the other challenges that actually went through, right? Let me see. Hold on, because it was an important part here. And then this part here about it needs to be conducted by somebody duly authorized to do so by the American people. This to me makes no sense because um nobody it's not like it is not like the people in the Justice Department are elected or put into those positions by the people. It's the president, right, that sits there and makes the appointments, and then Congress then then like says yay or nay on like pushing them through to those appointments. And then of course then you got all your regular lawyer employees. Yep, challenging the IRS it is a foolish errand for sure. It definitely don't stop any tax liabilities you have, because they'll let the interest clock keep running on that. That's the thing that get people caught up. When you challenge something, unless you try to order like some injunctional relief, which I don't think the court even grant you. If you're saying that they say you owe $1 million in taxes, you say they're not real, and they'll be like, okay, cool, we'll take it to court. It might be 3 years before we finally have our court date, but all the interest is being accumulated. That stuff's gonna keep going. Just so you know, right? That is what they're gonna do. But anyway, but yeah. So this statement here already tells me the kind of timing that this justice is on, because yeah, it's not like the people have a direct selection to who's working in the Justice Department. Justice Department is underneath the executive branch. So the lower court should thus answer these essential questions concerning the special counsel's appointment before proceeding. Here we go. So here go all the questions that's going to come about. The Constitution sets forth how an office may be created and how it may be filled. The Appointments Clause provides the President shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law, but the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the president alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of department. Just reading this off the bat, this tells me that what this is referring to is that obviously any position not already codified in the Constitution, right, that wants to be created needs to be done so by Congress. But it sounds like it has to be said inferior what, right? Inferior officers. So this sounds like people that have very prominent roles or an actual like directive level powers in whatever agency Congress is trying to create or establish. The special counsel doesn't have no such like special power or anything, right? He's just empowered by the Department of Justice to do one specific thing. Whereas an appointment, somebody appointed by Congress, well, a position created and appointed by Congress is going to be somebody like the director of EPA, right? That has, excuse me, right? That has huge oversight and creates the policies and whatnot for the EPA to follow in order to fulfill whatever goals or law requirements that they're trying to adhere, whatever whatever public sector that they're in charge of like enforcing that over, right? So if there's like if there's like pollution concerns somewhere, right, the EPA director is the one that's going to sit there and help draft the policies that the organization is going to follow on how to hold companies and stuff that's violating that to account based off of what the law allows. All right, so that's what inferior officers position sounds like to me. I could be wrong, right? Not a lawyer, and I have no experience in really deep diving into this. We might do so like later on, but we'll see, right? Special counsel is nothing like that at all. He's literally just like a contracted prosecutor. That's just all he is. He is literally a contractor. You could just essentially say he's just a contractor. He's there for a very specific purpose that he's being paid to do, and then that's it, right? He has no ability to make any decisions. Some stuff he still has to go back to the Department of Justice and in order to like get the clearance on. So like I don't understand like how this is even going to even be argued. But on that note too, I don't know like what's being alleged. Are they alleging that somebody's saying that the special counsel is operating on a special office? Because then then that could be a problem if they're going to use that position. But it doesn't sound like that's what they're doing. I don't think that's what they're doing. It'd be stupid of them to do so, but we'll see. The constitutional process for filling an office is plain from this text. The default manner for appointing officers of the United States is nomination by the president and confirmation by the Senate, right? That's what I just said, right? But the clause provides a limited exception for the appointment of inferior officers. Congress may, by law, authorize one of three specific actors to appoint inferior officers without the advice and consent of the Senate. As relevant here, a head of department, right? That's what I was just talking about, right? So you director, EPA, IRS, like whatever it is. Attorney General is one such actor that Congress may authorize by law to appoint inferior officers without senatorial confirmation. Before the president or a department head can appoint any officer, however, the Constitution requires that the underlying office be established by law. The Constitution itself creates some offices, but most obviously that of the president and vice president, although the Constitution contemplates that there will be other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for. It clearly requires that those offices shall be established by law. And established by law refers to an office that Congress creates by statute. And then the citations. The limitation on the president's power to create offices grew out of the founders' experience with the English monarchy. The king wielded significant power by both creating and filling offices as he saw fit. He was we have got to. First off, I got to put my headphones on. Emphatically, I think is how you actually pronounce it, but I want to make sure. Emphatically, is that? I'm pretty sure that's probably how you say it, right? Emphatically. Come on.
Emphatically. Emphatically.
Emphatically. Okay. Emphatically. Emphatically. Okay. We were right. Emphatically and truly styled the Fountain of Honor. He not only appointed to all offices, but could create offices. The Federalists. Oh yeah, another citation there. Another citation. I had a meeting today with a Princeton professor. He's an open Marxist, by the way. You know, colleges are supposed to be the place where, you know, you get where you hash out all those beliefs. So I it doesn't surprise me, honestly, that you found a Marxist professor. I wouldn't be surprised if you find a socialist professor or any of those things, right? Because the idea is that that's where all these people collect, and then that's where they decide on like who's actually have like the betterment of the country in mind. At least that kind of idea. Hold on 1 second. Can I move you down? Sure can. Nice. I had so many Marxist professors is nuts. Sheesh. Sounds like you went to quite the popular school then. Let's see. As the king may create new titles, so may he create new offices. That ability to create offices raised many concerns about the king's ability to amass too much power. The king could both create a multitude of offices and then fill them with his supporters. Blah blah blah. Who are officers of the United States? Blah blah blah. Looking past the citation here. Come on. Okay. Describing the power of appointment to offices as the most insidious and powerful weapon of 18th century despotism. What is that? I've heard that word before, but I don't know what it means. Despotism. The exercise of absolute power, especially in a cruel and oppressive way. Is that?
Despotism.
Despotism. Okay. Despotism. Let's see. More citations. Okay, here. Explaining that the crown derives its whole consequence merely from being the giver of places and pensions. In fact, one of the grievances raised by the American colonists in declaring their independence was that the king had erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. Declaration of Independence. The founders thus drafted the Constitution with evidently a great inferiority in the power of the president, and is particular to that of the British king. The founders broke from the monarchical model by giving the president the power to fill offices with the Senate's approval, but not the power to create offices. They did so by imposing the constitutional requirement that new officer positions be established by law rather than through a king-like custom of the head magistrate unilaterally creating new offices. Blah blah blah. The powers relative to office are partly legislative and partly executive. The legislature creates the office, defines the powers, limits its duration, and annexes a compensation. And then see also bit describing the power to designate the man to fill the office as of an executive nature. Bro, these like cuts is killing me. The Constitution thus gives Congress broad authority to establish and organize the executive branch. Blah blah blah. More concurring in judgment in part and dissenting in part. Okay. By keeping the ability to create offices out of the president's hands, the founders ensured that no president could unilaterally create an army of officer positions to then filled with his supporters. Instead, our Constitution leaves in it the hands of the people's elected representatives to determine whether new executive offices should exist, right? Okay, this is starting to get boring because this is just all just saying the same stuff that we already understand. Congress is the only one that creates the offices, right? So the argument has to be that the special counsel is allegedly operating out of a special office, which I don't think is the case. Let's keep going. Long-standing practice from the founding to today comports with this original understanding that Congress must create offices by law. The first Congress, for instance, routinely and explicitly created offices by statute, creating the offices of the Attorney General and U.S. Attorney for each district. Blah, blah, blah. Creating the offices of Secretary of War and his chief clerk. Blah, blah, blah. Creating offices within the Department of Treasury for Secretary of the Treasury, a comptroller, auditor, treasurer, register, and assistant to the secretary. Still today, Congress creates the offices that the executive branch may fill. For example, Congress has created several offices within the Department of Justice, including the offices of the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, Associate Attorney General, Solicitor General, and Assistant Attorneys General. For some agencies, Congress has also granted the agency head the power to appoint such officers and employees as are necessary to execute the functions vested in him. Blah, blah, blah. In the past, Congress has at times expressly created offices similar to the position now occupied by the special counsel. Congress created an office for a special counsel to investigate. Let me read this one more time, see, because this is the part where we need to understand. In the past, Congress has at times expressly created offices similar to the position now occupied by a special counsel. Congress created an office for a special counsel to investigate the Teapot Dome scandal and pursue prosecutions, and a statute provided for the appointment of an independent counsel. Well, hold on. This is getting he's getting a little slick here. Let's see. How is Congress allowed to make these three-letter organizations? It's the Constitution. We just read it. It's this section. This section right here. Hold on. Damn, we already read that many. Let me see the child point. Yeah. Well, this is the part about like appointing the people, and then like there was just a citation earlier that I remember reading that said that talks about the creation of offices. But yeah, like it's written there in the Constitution. Congress creates the office, they create the positions for the office, and then the president appoints the people to those offices with the Senate confirming them, more or less, is how it goes. The old conspiracy take was that the FBI and CIA are bullshit. Well, if Trump wins and they get into Project 2025, they're going to combine all those offices underneath the Department of Justice, if I recall correctly from what we were reading the other day. So I don't know. We have to look and see. So as far as I can tell, they're pretty real. But what I think this justice is trying to do, right, is, so it sounds like to me if this is, I'm sure this is probably true right here, right? That Congress had created an office for a special counsel to do this thing. The name of this Teapot Dome scandal sounds like something that was probably done like in the 1760s or something, right? So my idea off the bat is that Congress themselves back then, because I'm sure back then they didn't have the what they call it, the committees that they do now. It sounds like to me Congress, if this happened as far back as I think it probably did, likely created the office to do an investigation on their behalf that is now just done by the what is it, the oversight, like things like the oversight committee and stuff, right? So look, looking at the photos, I can already tell this is probably like pretty far back there. Oh, this is not too far back, the 1920s, right? um so let's see. As a matter of fact, when was the oversight committee established? Let me just when was the oversight committee established, right? 1927. Isn't that, how interesting is that? That's literally a couple of years after after the time they appointed this office. Oh man, I tell you, man, I could literally write this stuff. The Teapot Dome scandal, was a bribery scandal involving an administration of the United States president. Blah blah blah. Um, what? Secretary of the Interior Albert Bacon. Albert Bacon Fall. Okay, Albert Bacon Fall had leased Navy petroleum reserves at Teapot Dome in Wyoming, as well as 2 locations in California, to private oil companies at low rates without competitive bidding. The leases were the subject of the investigation by Senator Thomas J. Walsh, convicted of accepting bribes from the oil companies. Fall became the first presidential cabinet member to go to prison, but no one was convicted of paying the bribes. Before the Watergate scandal, Teapot Dome was regarded as the greatest and most sensational scandal in the history of American politics. It permanently damaged the reputation of the Harding administration, already hurt by its handling of the Great Railroad Strike of 1922 and Harding's 1922 veto of the bonus bill. Congress subsequently passed permanent legislation granting itself subpoena power over tax records of any U.S. citizen, regardless of position. These laws are also considered to have empowered Congress generally. So yeah, see, I was right? So see, he's referring to something that you have to understand the context to actually get the whole purpose behind it. So it's not that he's going to argue that because Congress had created an office for the special counsel in the past, because they didn't do so now, the special counsel is obviously illegal. But they did this because they themselves didn't have the power to do what they do now, which is the reason why they now gave themselves subpoena power. And this is why, right, why things like the Oversight Committee was established literally only a couple of years after that incident. So, as a matter of fact, when did they actually grant themselves said power? Let's see. White House lawyers consulted Treasury, despite law meant to limit political involvement. Where do they have it? It's probably not important when exactly it was just established. It sounds like they did it shortly after. So within a couple of years. And then, of course, in a couple of years, then they made the Committee of Oversight. So going back to the document here. So yeah, so this is going to get blown out of the court. If somebody was to actually try to argue this would get blown out of the court, because this was strictly done because Congress did not have the power to do so until they passed laws to give themselves the power to do so. So, all right. To investigate the Teapot Dome scandal and pursue prosecutions, and a statute provided for the appointment of an independent counsel that we addressed in Morrison v. Olson. That statute lapsed, and Congress has not since reauthorized the appointment of an independent counsel. C 599. We cannot ignore the importance. Okay, so this is actually potentially important here because they're saying they talked about this issue before. God, man. That's the problem when you read stuff like this. In order to actually understand, you got to keep going down and down. I still blame Trump for the COVID scandal, though. Biden made it worse, but Trump started it. An issue and did not continue to this place. Okay, so that place is probably crazy. Okay, so um, Trump definitely. Well, I mean, it definitely is Trump's fault for COVID for how he handled it. I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, Biden did like what he could, but hey, the whole world was dealing with it, so not much you can really do with that. Quickly anyway. I sure did enjoy those checks though. I most certainly enjoyed those checks. Let's see here. I just want to see what was the opinion about this. Primary holding. Congress may grant authority to the judicial branch to appoint independent counsel without violating the separation of powers. Even though the independent counsel are members of the executive branch, Congress may also place restrictions on the removal of agency officials unless this would interfere with the president's exercise of executive power. The appointment of an independent counsel to investigate and potentially prosecute. Ooh, let me see him. Do you think Biden responsibly handled COVID? Um, yeah, I think he did everything he could. The problem though is that like if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, the president the president really doesn't have too much control. I mean, he could apply a lot of pressure in a lot of like different ways if he wanted to be overtly aggressive, but a lot of that stuff is really up to the states, you know? And so you know, if he says that everybody should be, you know, should wear a mask and stay, you know, stay 5 feet away from each other, but like Texas is like forget that. Like there's really not much really not much the president can really say or do about it. What and of course, like, you know, there's like little pressure points that he can do with like federal funding and whatnot, but like outside of that, it's really mostly just up to the states on like how they you know how they handle their internal affairs when it comes to big you know big social events like that. Let's see. It was a total fake. I can't believe the world believed COVID. I got a Latin degree out of it, so I'm cool. Latin degree, hell yeah. I got 2 checks out of it, and didn't have to go to work. Well, no, back then I had to actually where I worked at I definitely had to go to work. But once I stopped working at that place, where COVID stuff would happen, I would just get to stay home and it would be amazing. So let's see. Let's see what the facts are. The appointment of the independent counsel to investigate and potentially prosecute high-ranking government officials for violating criminal laws derived from Section 591 to 599 of the Ethics in Government Act. The independent counsel may be appointed only after the Attorney General seeks permission from the special division that is created by the Act after conducting the initial investigation. The authority of the independent counsel is determined by the special division, which is also responsible for appointing the independent counsel. However, once the independent counsel is appointed and authority is granted, he or she has full power to exercise all of the powers of the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General and the Department of Justice must refrain from intervening in any matters under the independent counsel's control. The independent counsel may be removed either for good cause by the Attorney General or when the independent counsel notifies the Attorney General that he or she has substantially completed the activities within his or her granted authority, and when the special division determines that those activities are complete. An appeal of the Attorney General's decision to remove the independent counsel is available. Congress also has the authority to monitor the independent counsel's actions. The Attorney General was asked to seek the appointment of an independent counsel to investigate Olson, Schmultz, and Dinkins when the House Judiciary Committee investigated controversy over document production by the EPA, in which the Department of Justice had been involved. Independent counsel was sought only with regard to Olson. In this position, Morrison subpoenaed Olson as well as Schmultz and Dinkins with regard to the Olson investigation. They argued that the independent counsel mechanism was unconstitutional. So Morrison lacked this authority. The lower courts reached conflicting conclusions. Okay, all that makes sense. What do you guys say? I seriously should have taken advantage of the situation and made money. That's my new philosophy. I'm telling you, man, the amount of money I made off of American Airlines on stock trading, when I was like sitting there, it was up, I sit there and sell it. When it was low, I would buy. And I was just doing that over and over. And I made so much money. cruise lines that crashed all the way. They were like as high as like $90-ish, and then COVID happened. It was as low as $7. Oh my gosh! And since they just kept going up and back, up and back, the people that made the most money though is those rental cars. My God, man! I wish if I had like the actual like real world cash, I would have most certainly had bought a lot of the rental car stocks, because like it was obvious that they were going to make it through the whole COVID thing once like COVID started coming up. I just didn't have the cash to actually just commit to it at the time. So it was just, man, it was amazing. Take advantage, right? Although of course, be forewarned, you can just as easily lose all of your money if you're not careful. So it's up to you what you decide to do. I just know for me, I most certainly made money. And the nice part is that if you do it right too, you can make money and reduce your taxes, which is, an awesome bonus. But getting to it here, back to the statute here. While the independent council has broad discretion and authority within the area granted by the special division, it is still limited by the special division's granted power. The council also is limited in tenure by statute and may be removed for good cause by a high executive branch officer or when the related activities are complete. This means that the independent council should be considered an inferior rather than a principal officer. Dissent, Anthony Scalia. The appointment of the independent counsel removes sole authority from the executive branch in conducting criminal prosecutions, which is provided by the Constitution. The separation of powers does not permit this framework. I'm going to read this one more time. The appointment of the independent counsel removes sole authority from the executive branch in conducting criminal prosecutions, which is provided by the Constitution. The separation of powers does not permit this framework. Okay, I understand what he's saying. And then recuse, and then Kennedy recused himself. Okay, this is interesting. So the statute had an expiration date. Was it sections 591 to 599? Oh, come on. Of the Ethics in Government Act. Is this like the only thing that they have here? Applicability and provision of this chapter. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what to say. The Attorney General shall conduct a preliminary investigation in accordance with Section 592 whenever the Attorney General receives information sufficient to constitute grounds to investigate whether a person described in Section B may have violated any federal crime law other than a violation classified as a Class B or C misdemeanor or an infraction. The person referred to in the subsections are the president and vice president, any individual serving in the positions listed in this list, any individual working in an executive office of the president who is compensated at a rate of pay at or above level 2 of the executive scheduler, any assistant attorney general, and any individual working in the Department of Justice who is compensated at a rate of pay to the above level at or above level 3. Any assistant attorney general. Okay, I was gonna say like saying the attorney general would have been kind of odd. The director of Central Intelligence, the deputy director of Central Intelligence, and the commissioner of Internal Revenue, the chairman and treasurer of the principal national. Okay, any individual who held an office or position described in these. Okay, because I was gonna say, because I saw president and vice president, but I didn't see former presidents. And then here we go. For 1 year after leaving the office or position. And this statute expired? This would be interesting. I want whatever job gives me security clearance. It would be a lot of contractor jobs for the military. You would likely require like some level of clearance, especially if you are providing supplies in like secure areas. Attorneys, lawyers for the like contracted lawyers for the Department of Justice, I believe that like get outsourced to the military, as well as like certain things that happen within the government, like they also get clearance, because I think like Trump's document case, if I'm not mistaken, and those were private lawyers. So like those lawyers, once like the whole they were getting into the weeds about the documents, they had to the government had to actually go through the process of granting his lawyers a clearance so they could actually be able to even read those documents. So it's essentially anything that would essentially anything that like would put you as a needed person for either the military or high level like government activities. Um, yeah, you sound like what you call it. Sound like Snowden or the was it Pete Manny? The whichever Manny person it was, right? That were that were contractors or actual like soldier stuff that had access to all the goods. So let's see. Time period for making a determination. Let's see. The Attorney General shall determine whether grounds to investigate exist no later than 30 days after the information is first received. If within 30 days, if within that 30-day period, Attorney General determines that information is not specific or not credible source, then the Attorney General shall close the matter. If within the 30-day period, the Attorney General determines that the information is specific and from a credible source, the Attorney General shall, upon making that determination, commence a preliminary investigation with respect to that information. If the Attorney General is unable to determine within that 30-day period whether the information is specific from a credible source, the Attorney General shall, at the end of the 30-day period, commence a preliminary investigation with respect to that information. Okay, and then we got the recusals. When recusal is required, if information received in this chapter involves the Attorney General, the next most senior official in the Department of Justice who is not also recused shall perform duties assigned under this chapter to the Attorney General. And then they had the requirements for the recusal. So this was a nice read, but is this expired? How did this statute expire? I support Snowden, honestly. I love when folks get info and expose it. Yeah, but you should really do it the actual proper way, which is where you report it to the Inspector General. Because as a matter of fact, the statute, look, hell, even the statute we just read, right, where it said that did I close it? Right? Where it said that if when the Attorney General gets information, basically he has to disclose it within 30 days, right? So like that's the same thing with like the IG reports. This is why like when Trump had that phone call with the Ukrainian president, and he was basically saying that if they don't do this, he's not going to give them foreign aid, something that he can't necessarily, my understanding is that he shouldn't be able to do. Even though he directs foreign policies, he doesn't allocate money. That's what Congress does. So he should be limited in his ability to just all of a sudden change um foreign already allocated foreign money that's going to like whatever um what's the word I'm looking for, whatever country it is earmarked for. So what did the guy that was like listening to the phone call, because he was part of the phone call, did? Instead of sitting there and leaking it to the internet and the press like Snowden did, he went to the Inspector General, and then the information eventually became public because of all the requirements that is that the Inspector General has to follow in disclosing that information to Congress, um in that whole process. So that's the proper way to do it. When you just sit there and you just straight up just leak something out, I honestly think you're doing a lot more damage than you should. A lot more damage than you think. I feel like Trump is not calling out Israel enough, though. That's currently. Oh, that's just because he just doesn't want to lose any votes. Wait until he gets into office, and we'll see exactly what he chooses to do. Um, he might go full on board with what they're trying to do, and like give him the clearance to like just go in and on the Palestinians, right? For we know, or he could just pull out altogether. We don't know. He is going to do one of those two things. I promise you, he's going to do one of those two things. That's why he's not talking so much about Israel. The only reason why you won't talk much about Israel is if you got something grand you're getting ready to roll out, and you don't, whether it's good or bad, you're gonna wait till after you're in office before you actually do it. So we'll see. I just only thing I just want to know is just if this section is expired, right? Because he is saying that the statute expired, right? And the statute provided for that appointment that we address, that statute lapsed, right? So how does a statute lapse, right? statute lapsed. Hold on, because this is what I think this is literally what we just read, right? Or is it something else? Let me just duplicate this. Let me just duplicate this real fast and just make sure I'm not crazy, right? Because am I crazy? There's no way. There's no way. There is no way. Preliminary investigation application. Oh, is it just different sections? Okay, because what we just read was, I think what we just read was 92, right? Or 91. I think what we just read was 91. Okay, yeah. That sounds like, didn't we just read this? No, because it's slightly different. This is 92. Okay. What do you think about Biden funding billions of dollars to Israel? Well, they're our allies, right? And this, the stuff's authorized by Congress. So, like, at the end of the day, Biden makes the requests, and then Congress is the one that either says yay or nay. And then they approve it, and then the money whatever the support is gets sent out. It gets sent out. So, I mean, Israel does get a lot of money, but I think the overall budget for foreign aid is pretty big. Let me see. U.S. foreign aid budget, right? Isn't it? Yeah, look, see, $63.1 billion, right? And the thing is, in the grand scheme of it, that's 1%. So 1% of the entire budget here. As I was saying, I knew it was like a small amount. It's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of like the overall, um, amount of money we spend in our budget, it is very, very, very small. So it's literally just drop a bucket. But you look at this number, $63 billion, right? Not millions. We're talking about thousands of millions of dollars, right? So $63 billion that if we was to pause for 1 year, we would have $63 billion that we could literally put into the U.S. system real quick to get the infrastructure, everything going. And then you can go back to like giving all the foreign aid that is needed for these countries. I would make the hard decision that like they got to be on their own for 1 year. Like, I'm sorry, we need this one restart. All right, 63 billion. Like, this is every year, right? This is roughly every single year. This isn't just one time. This isn't like over a span of like 10 years or whatever. This is every single year, right? So 1 year of just holding this money to put into the U.S. infrastructure, right, would go a significant long way. I'm just done with this foreign country. The U.S. is struggling, and fuck Israel. Funny. All right, let's read what this is here. This preliminary investigation, right? I just want to know about the lapse part, because okay. Let's see. So, determining that further investigation is warranted, the Attorney General shall apply the division of the court. There's only one match in this. Okay. The Attorney General, upon completion of a preliminary investigation under this chapter, determines that there are reasonable grounds to believe that further investigation is warranted, or the 90-day period referred to in subsection A1 and any extension granted under subsection A3 have elapsed, and the Attorney General has not filed a notification within the division of the court on the subsection B1. In determining under this chapter whether reasonable grounds exist to warrant further investigation, the Attorney General shall comply with the written or otherwise established policies of the Department of Justice with respect to the conduct of criminal investigations. Okay. Subsection A1. A1. A preliminary investigation conducted under this chapter shall be of such matters as the Attorney General considers appropriate in order to make a determination. Under subsection B or C, on whether further investigation is warranted with respect to each potential violation or allegation of violation of criminal law, the Attorney General shall make such determination not later than 90 days after the preliminary investigation is commenced. except that in the case of the preliminary investigation commenced after a congressional request under subsection G, the Attorney General shall make such determinations no later than 90 days. Okay. If this is the expiration thing that he is talking about, then what it sounds like to me is that so the Justice Department gets word of a crime committed by, let's say, the President of the United States. He has 30 days, right? Because the other thing we just read, right, is that he has 30 days from the moment he's notified to determine if that information is credible, that should warrant an investigation, right? That's what this 591 established here, right? Within a 30-day period, right? It shall determine whether grounds to investigate exist no later than 30 days after the information is first received. Okay, so they get the information about it and it's 30 days. So then, after he makes the determination that an investigation must be done, right? Let me make sure, because I think it even said it here, right? The Attorney General shall, at the end of the 30-day period, commence a preliminary investigation with respect to that information. Right? So in the 30-day period, he determines that it is good. It's a good source. It's credible. Then he does the preliminary investigation. Okay, now here's the preliminary investigation. A preliminary investigation conducted under the chapter shall be of such matters as the Attorney General considers appropriate. Blah, blah, blah. The Attorney General shall make such determination not later than 90 days after the preliminary investigation is commenced, except that in the case of a preliminary investigation commenced after a congressional request under subsection G. The Attorney General shall make such determination no later than 90 days. What exactly is he determining after 90 days? I need to read this one more time. Where was that? But this Attorney General considers appropriate shall be of such matters as the Attorney General considers appropriate in order to make a determination. Of such matters. I think what they're saying here, and I could be wrong, right? Because I'm not an attorney here, so I'm doing my best here to try to understand what the hell they're talking about. It sounds like to me the preliminary investigation is done to actually make a determination of what is actually the parameters of the crime that's being committed, right? Is it one crime? Is it three, right? We have a general idea of what the crime was, right? What's the basically like the big picture of the situation we're looking at is what that sounds like the preliminary investigation is for. And so the Attorney General considers appropriate. So the conducted under this chapter shall be of such matters. So yeah, right? So he gets the information, it's credible. So then he does a preliminary investigation and he makes the determination on what exactly that preliminary investigation is going to be looking at, right? That's what the preliminary investigation is for. And then, let me see it. So appropriate in order to make the determination under blah, 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 or whether further investigation is warranted. Okay, now I understand. Okay, I had to read it like 3 times. And that's sometimes what you just have to do, right? Especially like, if you don't have training in this stuff, like if you're not a lawyer or nothing like that, right? This stuff can get a little bit janky. But yeah, right? He gets information. He has 30 days to determine she do a preliminary investigation. He does the preliminary investigation and he has 90 days. That preliminary investigation has 90 days to determine if a full investigation needs to be done, right? So you get the allegation, right? Because not every allegation is investigated, right? It's vetted to see if it seems credible or not. So then it's vetted, it's credible. So he does a preliminary investigation to see if there's even anything worth pursuing, right? Because even if it looks credible, it doesn't necessarily mean that it ends up being true, right? So the preliminary investigation is then to check the truthfulness of the allegations, right? Did such and such appear to have done this, right? Once that is determined, right, then an actual full investigation is ordered by the Attorney General, it seems. And it seems like, my understanding, if I'm interpreting this right, he has 90 days from when the preliminary investigation starts in order to do it. So if I'm understanding this correctly, Justice Thomas is arguing that he must have let that time lapse, right? So there was a preliminary investigation and it took either the investigation took longer than 90 days or he appointed the special counsel like past the 90-day window. So then the question is just going to be, when did the Department of Justice actually get notification that something was up, right? We know the document case, right? That Nara sat there and was going through all that stuff, but Nara isn't necessarily the Justice Department, right? Nara, if I'm pronouncing it right, if that's even the organization, right? Because they're the ones that handle all of the records and stuff, right? And they kept asking for it back, and then they went to I think the FBI, or maybe they went to the Justice Department. I don't exactly know how the chain necessarily works, but there's probably some wiggle room or some playroom to like work with that. And so then once Trump did not want to return the documents, and the FBI went through the trouble of getting a subpoena because it was a law enforcement action, that I think is separate from being told that a crime has been committed. I think, right? Because no allegation necessarily at that moment in time has been alleged, right? All we know at that exact moment is that Trump has documents that don't belong to him, and he's saying that he gave us all of them, but we have reason to believe that he didn't, and so we need a subpoena to look and see if this is true, because then he would be, I don't think that's I don't think that's an obstruction of justice charge. That's something else, right? That'd be I wonder what the hell. I'd have to look at the subpoena to see like what did they use to justify the warrant? Because I mean, sure, right? A warrant, in order to justify a warrant, you have to allege a crime is like broken, but I don't know. I don't know how that would all work. I don't know how that would all work with respect to this part about needing to do an investigation. Because is it not until after the warrant is presented, then that's when there's word that somebody potentially committed a crime? Because remember, a warrant is meant to gather information about an alleged crime. That in itself doesn't mean that it's an actual notification that a crime has been committed, right? Because the purpose is to get the information. I'm doing my best here to try and like work this out, because it could have been just as easy the case that they got the warrant, they went over there, and it turns out he really did give everything he had, and none of the documents are there at that location, or at the very least that they're not there. So then there's no actual evidence of any wrongdoing. Because it could be that they were just wrong and maybe the documents were misplaced and they thought Trump had it, but he actually didn't. So the key here, I think the key here is going to be when the Department of Justice, so the Attorney General, was formally notified that Trump had most certainly committed a crime. And I want to say it probably didn't happen until after the FBI found the documents. So after the warrant was exercised. And now that's where your lawyer would definitely step in, because they'd have to sit there and argue, was it at that point or was it well before then that actually spun up the FBI in order to even find the documents to begin with. This is interesting. This is interesting. So this could be a valid argument depending on how like the timelines work. So we'll see. And the crazy thing is, I think the indictment actually lays out the timelines. I don't remember like how much of it I read to be able to recall what those were. But that's interesting. That's actually really interesting. There's actually a little bit of oomph right here, depending on how the timeline shakes up. So we cannot ignore the importance that the Constitution places on who creates the federal office. Okay, we'll see. To guard against tyranny, the founders required that a federal office be established by law. As James Madison cautioned, if there is any point in which the separation of the legislative and executive powers ought to be maintained with greater caution, it is that which relates to officers and offices. What is that word? Anals? One annals of Kong. That is terrible. If Congress has not reached a consensus that a particular office should exist, the executive lacks the power to create and fill an office on its own accord. But it sounds like to me that statute, right? So this statute is in existence. So that office is legitimate. And the only requirement is just that whoever's appointed is done so in this very specific timely manner. So okay. It is difficult to see how how the special counsel has an office established by law as required by the Constitution. When the Attorney General appointed the special counsel, he did not identify any statute that clearly creates such an office. Wait, so then what's this then? Didn't this statute just lay out exactly like how the investigations are? Wait, hold on. Preliminary investigation and application for appointment of an independent counsel. Is this a play on words? Like are they going to argue that it's this is for independent counsel and not a special counsel? Okay. Where was I? Blah blah blah. I was over here at the anals. Second elects the power to create and fill an office of his own accord. Okay, here we go. It is difficult to see how the special counsel has an office established by law as required by the Constitution. When the Attorney General appointed the special counsel, he did not identify any statute that clearly creates such an office. And then yeah, right. So I get it. So the justice order. So the Department of Justice order. This would be the order that actually says that hey, you go investigate this thing, and here's the specific guidelines. I'm curious, how many pages is it? Let's see. Here we go. Here's the appointment order. 2 pages. Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll read that as soon as we're done reading. Tell me Clarence Thomas is not the coolest Supreme Court judge. I mean, hey, he is my man's is taking like gifts left and right. So I don't know. And it's so crazy that the whole ethics thing, you can't, if the Supreme Court justices did an ethics violation, and what court system would hold them to account? No idea. They would have to be impeached, but obviously that's not going to happen in Congress. That damn sure is not going to happen in Congress. So I don't know. I think they're just at this point. I think they're just exploiting the position they're in, right? Because they wouldn't act nowhere near the way they're acting. Clark Thomas definitely wouldn't be if he knew that he could be impeached. He know damn well that by just giving us the Republicans everything that we want, he can do whatever the hell he wants and or rule. Yeah, he could basically do whatever he wants, and it won't matter, right? Because like the impeachment process is, I believe, should be the exact same, just like it is for the president, right? So majority of Congress of the House, but still 2/3 in the Senate. And why would the Republicans sit there and vote to impeach a Supreme Court justice that has been giving them everything they wanted, like taking out Roe v. Wade, taking out Chevron, and all this stuff. So it's just never going to happen. So the man could literally be like, well, forget the ethics. I'm gonna just go ahead and start taking bribes now. And like Congress literally would probably not do anything about it. They couldn't. They really couldn't. There'd be outrage and outroar. But unless they had a Republican president, they're not about to sit there and impeach him while there's a Democratic president on the books right now. That's why Mitch McConnell did everything he could to make sure that Obama didn't get to appoint the justice. Whether you call it a violation of the Constitution or whatever, like it just didn't matter. And then if y'all remember, right, the reason Mitch McConnell gave was because it was his last year. It was less than a year left in his office. So why would we sit there and let him appoint a judge when it should be the incoming president to do it, right? And then what happened, right? The third justice that Trump appointed, he appointed on his last year. If I'm not mistaken, was his last year in office, right? Timeline of Trump appointed judges, right? Donald Trump leaves the White House after appointing more than 200 judges to the federal bench, including nearly as many powerful federal appeals court judges in 4 years as Barack Obama appointed in 8. Let me see. Where is the Trump stands out on a large number of federal appeals court judges he appointed in only 4 years than other recent GOP presidents to appoint women to the federal judiciary, but less likely to do so than the last 2 Democratic presidents. Trump appointed a small share, more than a quarter current active judges. Jesus Christ. Trump appoint. Okay, I need to say Supreme Court judge, right? Timeline of the Trump appointed Supreme Court judges. Look at that. October 2026. 1 month. So 1 month before the election. And he pushed out another Supreme Court justice. But Barack Obama, right, who definitely had more than a month left. Nah, he can't do it because there's a new incoming president, and we don't want the new incoming president, whoever that is, wink wink, should be able to appoint the judge. You see, this is why, like, bro, this is why, like, it's so bad. It's so hard for us to really really stand on any moral ground for like some of the arguments we make, because we'll sit there, we'll make an argument that sounds good, but then we'll just turn around and then do something like completely contradictory to that right afterwards if it suits our needs. And that's the stuff that I've hated so much that they sit there and do. The Trump thing is staged. Oh yeah. Oh, you're still talking about like the assassin attempt? Well, I mean, there's some decent questions to ask. I'll give it that. Because it is still wild that somebody managed to get as close as they did. It's like 150 yards. How many yards is in a football field? So he got about just a little bit over a football field's distance away from the president to take that shot. So to me, that's kind of wild, especially on a building rooftop. One of the easier things to kind of secure, right? I can understand like, the difficulty that could be of trying to secure a building, especially like a really big one. If there was like really like big buildings nearby, but rooftops are very easy to sit there and watch. And he managed to exploit like, a brief moment where he can get that shot off, which is phenomenally crazy. But we'll have to wait and see how that hearing turns out to see if they're going to drop any details on any specifics, like exactly how many Secret Service snipers were there, what was the procedures they used to secure that particular building or the buildings around it. All that stuff's going to be very important to know. Yeah, so let's finish reading this, right? Let's see. So when the Attorney General appointed a special counsel, he did not identify any statute, and then that was the order. Nor did he rely on a statute granting him the authority to appoint officers as he deems fit, as the heads of some other agencies have. Didn't we just read the whole statute about it though? About like what he has to do? I think he's just complained that he just didn't put in his order, which is valid. I mean, if you don't, well, but then again, I don't know if an order necessarily needs to cite to a statutory authority to do so, because I think just the order not referencing a statutory authority doesn't take away or negate the authority. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it takes away or negates the authority, the authority that's going to be inherent for it to actually be able to be executed. That'd be wild if every order that you push out, you have to reference what specifically empowering you to conduct such order. To me, that'd be redundant and stupid. But I mean, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe that's important. Instead, the Attorney General relied upon several statutes of a general nature. See order citing 28 U.S.C. 509, 510, 515, and 533. Interesting. None of the statutes cited by the Attorney General appears to create an office for the special counsel, and especially not with the clarity typical of past statutes used for that purpose. And then the citation here, the president is further authorized and directed to appoint special counsel who shall have charge and control of the prosecution of such litigation. 509 and 510 are generic provisions concerning the functions of the Attorney General and his ability to delegate authority to any other officer, employee, or agency, right? See, isn't this what I was just saying earlier? I was just saying that I could have almost swore to you that the special counsel is like it should essentially just be seen as a contractor. He's literally just like a prosecutor. He's just literally just a guy that's like bar certified that they picked to like to run this investigation. Um, it's just like with the Georgia case, right? With the Georgia RICO case, right? How like you had the state the a state attorney, right, which was, I forgot the lady's name, and then she sat there and she contracted out and got like these other attorneys hired in order to work on the case, right? And they did so under the what is it, right, under the empowerment of that office. So that's what I assumed the special counsel was, because if he's saying that the special counsel, the attorney general did not appoint the special counsel using this particular statute, right, which we just read, that seems to really lay out all the things about it, then it would make sense to me if the attorney general like hired him as a contractor. If he hired him as a contractor, then all of it's good to go. As a matter of fact, didn't the special counsel that was investigating Biden's document case, didn't he resign? If I recall correctly, hold on, didn't he resign? So does that mean that they were actually an employee? Special counsel Biden resign. Let's see. Yeah, resignation from the Department of Justice, and he was selected. He was also a special counsel. Biden's special counsel Robert Hurd's resignation from DOJ makes his testimony even more problematic. Let's see. Special counsel Hurd investigated and declined to charge former President Joe Biden over the classified documents case, and Hurd resigned from the Justice Department and will appear as a private citizen in his testimony to the House Judiciary Committee. Yeah, so these special counsels are either contractors or actual employees. Oh yeah, I think unless I'm missing something, and I could very well be, yeah, this is like that thing that Cannon did. Then this shit's gonna get thrown out of court. It's most certainly going to be thrown out of court because they're either they have to be either a contractor or an employee. Then if you have to give a resignation. If you give a resignation, like you have to be an employer or a contractor. Unless you're going to say like, his appointment. I mean, unless there's a provision on the appointment to do so. I don't know. My brain is starting to hurt now. Just thinking about this. Man, eat another chip. So Section 509 and 510 are generic provisions concerning the functions of the Attorney General and his ability to delegate authority to any other officer, employee, or agency. Section 515 contemplates an attorney specially appointed by the Attorney General under law, thereby suggesting that such an attorney's office must have already been created by some other law. Wait. Section 515 contemplates an attorney specially appointed by the Attorney General under law. This as an attorney, though. This doesn't say like a... I don't know. We'd have to read this section. This one sounds fishy. This one sounds like he's trying to downplay it. It probably got some juicy information in it. We might read it later. Let me see. Thereby suggesting that such an attorney's office must have already been created by some other law. As does every attorney need an office, though, is the question, right? Because aren't all the other offices created by Congress not necessarily, I don't think that they have to be filled by lawyers, right? Like, I don't think like the head of the EPA, but I don't know, maybe I could be wrong on that. As for 533, it provides that the Attorney General may appoint officials to detect and prosecute crimes against the United States. It is unclear whether an official is equivalent to an officer as used by the Constitution. Regardless, this provision would be a curious place for Congress to hide the creation of an office for a special counsel. It is placed in a chapter concerning the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the separate chapters concerning U.S. attorneys or the now lapsed independent counsel. To be sure, the court gave passing reference to the cited statutes as supporting the appointment of the special prosecutor in United States versus Nixon. Okay, so these same statutes that he's complaining about have been used before in the special prosecutors that have came before, like in US v. Nixon. Okay, but it provided no analysis of those provisions' text. Perhaps there is an answer for why these statutes create an office for a special counsel, but before these consequential prosecution proceeds, we should at least provide a full explanation of why that is so. How much more does man? Okay, cool. He's done. He's almost done. Okay, I was gonna say, even if the special counsel has a valid office, questions remain as to whether the attorney general filled that office in compliance with the appointments clause. For example, it must be determined whether the special counsel is a principal or inferior officer. If the former, his appointment is invalid because the special counsel was not nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. As a principal, officers must be in Article 2, blah, blah, blah. Even if he is an inferior officer, the attorney general could appoint him without presidential nomination or senatorial confirmation only if Congress, by law, vested the appointment. And the attorney general, as a head of department, so the special counsel's appointment is invalid unless a statute created the special counsel's office and gave the attorney general the power to fill it by law. Whether the special counsel's office was established by law is not a trifling technicality. If Congress has not reached a consensus that a particular office should exist, the executive lacks the power to unilaterally create and then fill that office. Given that the special counsel purports to wield the executive branch's power to prosecute, the consequences are weighty. Our Constitution's separation of powers, including its separation of the powers to create and fill offices, is absolutely central guarantee of a just government and the liberty that it secures for us all. And it is. There is no prosecution that can justify imperiling it. In this case, there has been much discussion about ensuring that a president is not above the law, but as the court explains, the president's immunity from prosecution for his official acts is the law. Woo, that is a crazy statement to make. That is a crazy statement to make. I need to read this one more time so I can really understand what it is. In this case, there has been much discussion about ensuring that a president is not above the law. But as the court explains, the president's immunity from prosecution for his official acts is the law. Man. All hail our new king. Jesus Christ, man. The Constitution provides for an energetic executive because such an executive is essential to the security of liberty. Another citation. Respecting the protections that the Constitution provides for the office of the presidency secures liberty. In that same vein, the Constitution also secures liberty by separating the powers to create and fill offices. And there are serious questions whether the Attorney General has violated that structure by creating an office of the special counsel that has not been established by law. Those questions must be answered before this prosecution can proceed. We must respect the Constitution's separation of powers in all its form, else we risk rendering its protections of liberty a parchment guarantee. Amazing. Do you think Trump supporters literally want Trump as king? Obviously not all Trump supporters, but clearly anybody that supports that he should have criminal immunity from the things that he's done is like, I mean, there's no other way to really cut it. Like you most certainly want a king, right? Only a king can put himself above the law, right? Because he is the king. A king can do essentially whatever he wants unless he's cooed. So the fact that you can do a fake elector scheme, because like I said, of all the different things that he's done, the fake elector scheme is the most damning of them all, and that's the one that there's just clear evidence. For him to get criminal immunity from that, I know this would lead to chaos, but I would have loved to have seen a scenario where, let's say Trump does win this presidential election. I would love to see Biden. Of course, he's not going to do it, right? Because he's a man of moral character, right? He's not an alley cat. I would have loved to see him do the exact same things Trump did after the election, minus the January 6th processes thing. I would have loved for him to have just did, right? Since he does have the immunity now that Trump has, I would love for him to have done the fake elector scheme, tell his vice president to reject the votes, and because that conversation is going to now be president, immune from criminal prosecution. Let's say Harris is going to sit there and she's going to be fully on board, like Trump's new vice president seems like he would have been, right? So then Harris is on board, and then we get the Congress, and then she rejects the votes. Then what? You know, he has presidential immunity. Bro, like the stuff is crazy. Save your money as much as you can, every single penny, for November. I'm telling you now, save every single dollar. You don't know what you might need to buy and how quickly you might need to buy it after November or after election. Do you think that's why Destiny is so done with this kind of debates? Probably. Like, honestly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand why he's acting now the way he's acting, because it does. This is the most craziest thing. We are actually living now in an era, or we're living in a time where it does actually look like the multiple checks the Constitution had created and all the laws that have created to protect us from what's probably going to happen are actually failing. That's what it literally looks like is like actually happening, and we're actually watching this in real time. And so, of course, I don't want this to be the case, but I think he said in like in one of his thing, right? We're either coming to the actual end of the American experiment, and one hell of what's going to probably be one hell of a blazing event, or quality of life is going to change significantly from that point forward, right? Because either side is going to try to do something. And the thing is that the thing I worry about the most is not so much of a civil, I don't, a civil war thing. The civil war thing actually doesn't concern me as much as what our adversaries might start to do. I would be really interested in knowing what China and Russia do. And thank God their military capabilities are not as developed as we are to project, the kind of power that we are capable, in our allies, and because all the networks and stuff that we built are capable of projecting across such a massive amount of distance across this planet. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. When Trump becomes president, do you think this will be the death of democracy? Parts of it will most certainly die. This is a guarantee, right? And the thing is like, it's just a matter of, do people, like, even if you want to have the best case scenario of keeping things intact, the only parts of that will die about democracy is just that everybody is treated fair under the law. Because remember, right, there's some of these things there's clear black and white evidence that Trump essentially like committed crimes and violated the law in multiple different ways. And if he actually wins back the presidency, he can literally dismiss all of those. Because the Florida document case, he can kill himself. He doesn't have to worry about the justices saying or doing anything. He's the president. He's the head of the executive branch. He can kill it. The state stuff, he has Republican allies. They can sit there and they can pardon it. And if for whatever reason they don't want to pardon it, right, then he can give the states hell by doing like all kinds of like crazy shady stuff that he'll be criminally immune from, from being prosecuted for, because it's not like he's going to be impeached. So like, oh, what, New York had a natural disaster where like a category 6 hurricane, right, that's never been seen before, comes through, and they really need foreign federal aid that the president needs to approve. Okay. Like it's just gonna be like crazy, I'm telling you. So best case scenario is just that he literally just becomes above the law, right? So he can do whatever he want that everybody else can't do, and that's a key pillar of democracy knocked off right off the bat for that part of it. And at worst, like just some really, really bad stuff happens, right? I'm not saying necessarily a civil war, but but like some things, depending on how bad they get, could really just ruin um could really ruin the country's future, right? Like will be in a much worse place than we would have ever been in, if he was to win, and if he was to allow things to go like they can go, especially like if foreign adversaries do it. Your webcam is not working, by the way. Oh no. Oh snap. My okay, hold on. I didn't have it plugged in, so it probably died. All right, cool. So we're gonna have to give it 5 minutes, and then it'll be back on. So you know what, this is a perfect time to take a quick break. We're going to be back in like 4 minutes. I think I just need like maybe 4 minutes of charging, and it'll be back on. As a matter of fact, let me unplug it and put it on a fast charger, because I'm using my I am using my phone here. What? Oh, don't want to break. Okay, fine. We'll stay on. But let me just still try to plug up my phone here on the fast charger. I it's already at 2%. I just needed to just be able to cut on, and then I could just plug it back up on the other cord, on back on the stand, and then it should be good. So yeah, man, I am thirsty though. All right, let's go ahead and let's see, what am I going to do here? Come on, can I lock it? Cool. All right, that's locked. That's good. All right, 3%. Cool. It just needs like literally 1 more minute. But yeah, that's kind of like where we're at with that. So we'll just have to wait and see. We really are gonna have to wait and see. Um, let's read what the actual appointment memo for the special counsel, and then we'll get into what's her face's order, and then we'll just only read like that first part, just that I think is just gonna have all the information we need, because I don't even feel like I really do feel like it'd be a waste of time to sit there and try to read. Well, I'm not reading 90 pages for sure, but it'd probably be a waste of time to even like really focus too much on it, because it's just probably going to be overthrown or overturned in the upper court. So we'll see. All right, so this is the appointment order for the office of the Attorney General. I'm gonna eat one chip, and then we're gonna get reading. Okay. So, by virtue of the authority vested in the Attorney General under 28 USC 509, 510, 515, 533, excuse me, in order to discharge my responsibility to provide supervision and management of the department. Excuse me, I ate a spicy chip and I'm dying slowly. Oh my God. That is horrible. Oh my God. It changed my voice and everything. Oh no. I'm sound like I'm next to the rainbow. Oh, that sounds so horrible. Good Jesus Christ. Okay, well, and it just so happens that okay, we're getting back to it. Okay. Phone is cutting back on. So let's see. I know it's zesty. Jesus Christ, man. This is where I ask myself, what would Zesty Destiny do? All right, my phone's turning back on and my voice is recovering. So let's see. All right, getting back to it. I guess if we're gonna have zesty voice for now until I'm back at it. All right. In order to discharge my responsibilities to provide supervision, there we go, and management of the Department of Justice, had to purge that thing, and to ensure a full and thorough investigation of certain matters, I hereby order as follows. And turning my phone on here. John L. Smith is appointed to serve as special counsel for the United States Department of Justice. The special counsel is authorized to conduct an ongoing investigation into whether any person or entity violated the law in connection with efforts to interfere with the lawful transfer of power following the 2020 presidential election or the certification of the Electoral College vote held on or about January 6, 2021, as well as any matters that arose or might arise directly from this investigation or that are within the scope of 28 CFR. This authorization. Oh, it didn't work. Hold on. Gotta put my phone right here. Okay, cool. Phone's cutting on now. This authorization does not apply to prosecutions that are currently pending in the District of Columbia, as well as future investigations and prosecutions of individuals for offenses they committed while physically present on the Capitol grounds on January 6, 2021. Those investigations and prosecutions remain on the authority of the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. Further delineation of the authorizations between the Special Counsel and the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia will be provided as necessary and appropriate. The Special Counsel is further authorized to conduct the ongoing investigation, reference, and describe the United States response to motion of judicial oversight and additional relief. Donald J. Trump versus United States. Number this. Okay, so this might be the Florida one. Okay, as well as any matters that arose or may arise directly from this investigation or that are within the scope of 28 CFR 600, blah, blah, blah. The Special Counsel is authorized to prosecute federal crimes arising from the investigation of these matters. The Special Counsel is also authorized to refer to the appropriate United States Attorney discrete prosecutions that may arise from the Special Counsel's investigation. Section blah, blah, blah. Regulations are applicable to the Special Counsel. Okay. So it really is just these three things. All right. My phone is fully on. All right, give me a second here. Let me pop open the phone app here. Okay, let me plug you up. Okay, so I'm putting you on the charger here, and then now we are going to actually open up the app. Cool. All right, so that's that, and then I just need to now place you back on here. You're actually plugged up this time. Cool. And now let me just yeah, there we go. Kind of do that and move you back a little bit. Are you leaned? You look like you might be leaned a little. No, you definitely. Okay. That looks good enough to me. Looks good enough to me. Okay, and you are still plugged. You are probably leaned. You definitely look like you're leaned, but then the whole thing's actually a little bit leaning, so maybe that actually counteracts it. All right, let's actually get to okay. So you're saying that these are the sections he's using as Attorney General to appoint the Special Counsel. So we would have to read these sections. Okay, I'm not doing that right now. Let's now actually read what's her face order. Okay, so here is the motion that dismissed the Florida documents case, right? The one case of all the cases of criminal activity that Donald Trump was pending to have adjudicated, this was the one where it looked at like he was most certainly going to be convicted and probably thrown in jail for. And they just dismissed this. So the former President Trump's motion to dismiss indictment based on the unlawful appointment and funding of Special Counsel Jack Smith is granted in accordance with this order. The superseding indictment is dismissed because Special Counsel Smith's appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the United States Constitution, U.S. Courts, Article 2, blah, blah, blah. Special Counsel Smith's use of a permanent indefinite appropriation also violates the Appropriations Clause, U.S. Constitution, but the court need not address the proper remedy for that funding violation given dismissal on Appointments Clause grounds, right? So see how she threw this in here too, because what she's trying to stack it by saying that not only was he appointed incorrectly, but even if he was appointed correctly, his funding is also messed up. So it's also unlawful. So we don't even need to talk about that. So in case of for whatever reason that you say that he was lawfully appointed, you still need to address how is it that he has unlimited funding or indefinite appropriations. So that's what that part is. The proper let's blah see do not need to address blah blah. The effect of this order is confined to this proceeding. Introduction. The motion before the Supreme Court challenges, and again, I am not reading all 93 pages of these. We're going to get the just like up to all the way up to like the because I think this should be enough up to the factual background start. Oh hell, I don't even think we need to go that far. We could probably just stop here. Let's see. We'll figure out when we actually read it. All right, introduction. The motion before the court challenges the legality of Special Counsel Smith, hereinafter Special Counsel Smith or Special Counsel, in two consequential respects, both of which are matters of first impression in this circuit, and both of which must be resolved before this prosecution proceeds further. The first is a challenge to his appointment under the Appointment Clause, which provides the exclusive meaning of appointing officers of the United States. Under Article 2, the Appointments Clause sets as a default rule that all officers of the United States, whether inferior or principal, must be appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. It then goes on to direct that Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in heads of departments. For purposes of this order, the court accepts the special counsel's contested view that he qualifies as an inferior officer, not a principal one. Although the court expresses reservations about that proposition and addresses those arguments below, the motion's second challenge is rooted in the Appropriations Clause, which prohibits any money from being drawn from the Treasury. Unless such funding has been appropriated by an act of Congress, no money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law. Both appointments and appropriations challenges as framed in the motion raise the following threshold questions. Is there a statute in the United States Code that authorizes the appointment of Special Counsel Smith to conduct this prosecution? After careful study of this seminal issue, the answer is no. None of the statutes cited as legal authority for the appointment, and then it's the same statutes that were referenced in the. Okay, so I guess after this, we are going to have to read these so we can see how fair of a reading she's given. Gives the Attorney General broad and inferior officer appointing power or bestows upon him the right to appoint a federal officer with the kind of prosecutorial power wielded by Special Counsel Smith. Nor do the special counsel's strained statutory arguments, appeals to inconsistent history, or reliance on out-of-circuit authority persuade others. The bottom line is this. The Appointment Clause is a critical constitutional restriction stemming from the separation of powers and it gives to Congress a considered role in determining the propriety of vesting appointment power for inferior officers. The special counsel's position effectively usurps that important legislative authority, transferring it to a head of the department, and in the process threatening the structural liberty inherent in the separation of powers. If the political branches wish to grant the Attorney General power to appoint Special Counsel Smith to investigate and prosecute this action with the full powers of the United States Attorney, there is a valid means by which to do so. He can be appointed and confirmed through the default method prescribed in the Appointment Clause, as Congress has directed for the United States attorneys through American history. Or Congress can authorize his appointment through enactment of positive statutory law consistent with the Appointment Clause. I love that she never actually mentions what we read earlier about 590 about 590, because 590 seemed like clear cut authority to appoint a special counsel, but that's apparently not what the Attorney General relied on. So we'll see. Shit, I lost my tab. Here we go. This order proceeds as follows. After laying forth pertinent factual and procedural background leading to the present motion, the court summarizes the legal principles underlying the Appointment Clause and the separation of powers doctrine on which it rests. The court then surveys the statutory structure of the Department of Justice, focusing on the provisions which grant the Attorney General appointment authority. Following the contextual summary, the court engages with the text, context, and structure of each of the statutes cited in the appointment order, finding no officer appointing authority in the cited statutes. And seeing no reason in the mixed historical record to deviate from the absence of such authority. The court addresses the Supreme Court's dictum with respect to those statutes in United States v. Nixon. As the Nixon decision and record bear out, the Attorney General's statutory appointment authority, or the matter of the Appointments Clause more generally, was not raised, argued, disputed, or analyzed. At most, the Supreme Court assumed without deciding that the Attorney General possessed statutory appointment authority over the special prosecutor involved in that action. Following the discussion of Nixon and related out-of-circuit precedent. So real quick, because what they're saying that this issue existed even back with US v. Nixon, and the only reason why I just went through an issue is just because nobody challenged it, is what they're just essentially saying. And related out-of-circuit precedent, the court turns to the question whether Special Counsel Smith is a principal officer requiring presidential nomination and senatorial consent, or that on that issue, although there are compelling arguments in favor of a principal officer designation given the regulatory framework under which he operates, the court rejects the position based on the available Supreme Court guidance. Wow, bro. What did I say? How did I call this out? How did I know that this was going to be in works with with the Supreme Court justice? So literally Justice Thomas literally just like gave her, like, here you go, just passed her the okay to go ahead and nuke the special counsel, and at the very least we can guarantee you that it's going to get further delayed in the judicial court system, right? Because think about it, best case scenario for this, right, if it wins appeal, if Jack Smith wins appeal and overturns her motion, they're saying that it's almost guaranteed that she's going to be removed. And if she gets removed, is only going to add to further delay. And the thing is that removal is probably going to be the only real remedy he's going to want to seek after dealing with what he's dealt with so far. So this is going to be a win regardless of whether the appeal goes through or not, or if it has to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and there's all the Supreme Court justice minus Thomas sits there and says that, yeah, no, this is actually good, and then kicks it back down for it to continue the whole judicial process, because that'll take months. And we have four left, right? What is it, halfway through July? August, September, October, November. We have 4 months. This is crazy. That's crazy. Based on available Supreme rights, the court then examines the question of remedy, concluding that dismissal of this action is only appropriate solution for the Appointments Clause violation. Finally, the court considers the appropriate clause challenge to the funding of Special Counsel Swift, concluding for many of the same reasons that Congress has not authorized the appropriation of money to be drawn for the expenses of his office. The order concludes there, finding it unnecessary under the current posture to reach the remedy question for the Appropriations Clause violation. Okay, so yeah, and see, I was right? We don't even need the, because then the rest of it is just going to be all just background stuff, and then like her reasoning for coming up to these determinations. But it's just all going to stem from the fact that she's just saying that there's nothing in those statutes that the special counsel is citing that authorizes him to appoint him, right? So now we're going to have to actually read each one. So now we got to read two. All right, so this is it. So this is the last part now of our look into the matter, right? So we'll look at 509. What is it? 10, 15, and 33. That's crazy. See, 10, 15, 33. Just okay, 15, and then 33. Oh, nice. And some of them are really short. That's what I like to see. I like it to be short, because I get tired of having to read so much stuff. If I can avoid it, I will try and be reasonable about it. And I can start by closing these tabs too. Well, I feel like I'm missing something. I'm missing 509. Oh God, don't tell me they just reference other stuff. That'd be terrible. All right, so here we go. 509, functions of the Attorney General. All functions of other officers of the Department of Justice and all functions of agencies and employees of the Department of Justice are vested in the Attorney General, except the functions vested in subchapter 2 of Chapter 5 of the Title 5 and Administrative Law judges employed by the Department of Justice, of the Federal Prison Industries Incorporated, of the Board of Directors and officers of the Federal Prisons Industries, Inc. That's it. Can I hit next? National Security Division. So he cited the whole thing. Oh, so there's actually going to be a lot more sections. Oh, how nice. Let's see. So 509A, National Security Division. So this part won't be there. Section to enforce human rights laws. Okay, so the delegation of authority would probably definitely be one. Oh yeah, see, because 510, right? Oh, okay, so maybe he just actually does cite them specifically. Okay, let's actually give it a chance then. So delegation of authority. The Attorney General may from time to time make such provisions as he considers appropriate, authorizing the performance of any other officer, employee, or agency of the Department of Justice or any function of the Attorney General. So this is what I'm saying, right? This right here, if it's the case that the special counsel could be seen as a contractor or an actual employee, you know what I'd have to do? Let's look and see. Let's match this up with the appointment order for her for that special counsel. His name is Her. Appointment order. This was it, Robert Her, right? Right. Let's see. Also 2 pages. 509, 510, 515, and 533. Okay. Because it doesn't even say anything. This appointment order doesn't lay out anything about resignations. So it must be that they're either they have to be contractors or employees then. So yeah, it's literally damn near copy and paste. Oof. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me go back to that other one. 28. All right, 28 CFR. I'm just curious what the title of this says because we might have to read this too. Since these are all short, we can actually look at these. Okay, so these are all just okay, the jurisdiction of it. Okay, well jurisdiction of a special counsel shall be established by the Attorney General. The special counsel will be provided with a specific factual statement to the matter to be investigated. The jurisdiction of a special counsel shall also include the authority to investigate and prosecute federal crimes committed in the course of and within the intent to interfere with. Wait, hold on. This sounds like this is literally spelling out everything he needs in order to. Oh, well, it's saying the jurisdiction. So this is assuming that the creation process has already been done. I was about to say, I was like, bro. Okay, yeah, no, this is just all just jurisdiction stuff. But this is, okay, so this is about getting the authority of like what to investigate, how to investigate. But this is, they would say this will all be relying on the special counsel being created properly from the get-go. Okay. So let's just go back, right? So this is a delegation of authority. So if he is able to hire an employee, because then it could have easily just been the case that he could have used any regular employee within the Justice Department. But traditionally, the reason why they would want somebody outside of the Justice Department to do it is because they didn't want to give the perception of, oh God, what's the word called, man? My vocabulary sucks when it gets late. Any unfair treatment or any biases. There you go, the bias word. They didn't want to make it look like it was like any biases happening. So if we go here, so that's the delegation of authority. That's why they usually pick somebody outside of the Department of Justice to be special counsel. Let's see, 515 does authority for legal proceedings, commission, oath, and salary for special attorneys. Oh my God. Please tell me this isn't about to be the statute that just spells it all out clearly. The Attorney General, or any other officer of the Department of Justice or any attorney specially appointed by the Attorney General under law may, when specifically directed by the Attorney General, conduct any kind of legal proceeding, civil or criminal, including grand jury proceedings and proceedings before committing magistrate judges, which United States attorneys are authorized by law to conduct, whether or not he is a resident of the district in which the proceedings is brought. Each attorney specially retained under the authority of the Department of Justice shall be commissioned as special assistant to the Attorney General or special attorney, and shall take the oath required by law. Foreign counsel employed in special cases are not required to take the oath. The Attorney General shall fix the annual salary of a special assistant or a special attorney. Hold on, this. I wish I had an attorney here. This sounds a lot like just what makes me pause for a second is just this section right here. Foreign counsel employed in special cases are not required to take the oath. So even a foreign attorney could be granted this authority, could be granted authority. So a lawyer that's not even of the like in the United States, if a foreign attorney, if I'm reading this right, this is is all just speculation here, right? Because I said I don't know. I'm doing my best to try and make sense of what I'm reading, but my God, does it it doesn't seem like it's necessarily that complicated, but at the same time though, like words really do matter in these contexts, every comma and period. So if a foreign attorney can receive this authority and power, then why can't a regular attorney in the United States be selected to do this as well, right? Because it's not like Congress is establishing an office for a foreign attorney or anything like that. Future attorney there. Oh, Brian, you're working to be a future attorney? That'd be awesome. It's not. I don't recall Congress. Yeah, I don't recall Congress doing like any type of empowerment for some like foreign attorney or anything like that, or creating any office or anything like that. So if there's a statute here that could empower a foreign attorney, I don't understand how a regular attorney then can't be. Oh, you going for corporate law? Ooh, look at you! Hell yeah, the corporate stuff. That's where there's a lot of nice big money in it there, especially like when you if you manage to get to like the big organizations that like to get sued a lot lately. Although you'll definitely be working, you will most certainly be getting your money's worth, or you'll be working for your paycheck for sure. But will that paycheck be massive? Good luck. So, but yeah, like my thing is that if it sounds like to me a foreign attorney can be given the authority, so I don't understand why a regular attorney within the Department of Justice be, or outside of the Department of Justice. I don't understand why a regular attorney outside of the Department of Justice just be selected. I do have to say though, I want to be a politician, but I want to be a lawyer first. Well, I mean, those are the typical pathways, which is why I got a degree in political science. Those are the typical pathways, lawyer, politician. So just make sure that when you're a lawyer that you do still participate, although it will be hard, right? Because like you will probably be pretty busy, but try to just make as good of a public presence as you can, right? So that once you're ready to branch into the politics, because I don't know if you're going to try to jump straight into like the big dogs like Congress or whatnot, or if you're going to do like local politics first and then maybe eventually make your way over there to Congress. But hey, just always look for what you can do to maximize your future goals for sure. Which is why I got a degree in political science. I think law and politics go together. Yes. It's supposed you would think so. Just because of the simple fact that, sure, go ahead and shoot your question. Just because of the simple fact that, like, if I mean, granted, like, you don't have to be a lawyer to be elected to run in Congress. But since Congress are the ones that's making laws, like, we would like them to be sensible and understanding like what they're doing. I would imagine. Again, not a requirement, but that's probably why like it typically tracks with why a lot of them are like used to be lawyers or something. I think anyway. Do you think there will be a future where unborn American citizens can be president or vice president? No, because that was going to require, unfortunately, it's going to require 2/3 of states in the United States to amend the Constitution, and that's just not going to happen. Not in these times. It won't. It probably not going to happen in our lifetime. I'll say that. Notwithstanding some catastrophic event that bring us to the brink of destruction and a bulk of the population being wiped out. Yeah, I don't see 2/3 of the United States coming together to amend the Constitution to allow foreign-born people being able to be president. So, yeah. Although, hold on, for vice president though, I don't think there's such a restriction on vice president. I don't think there's a restriction on vice president. It's just the president. The vice president, I think he could select anybody. I could be wrong about that, right? It's not like I like read the Constitution all the way through. We need to do that one of these days. We need to read the Constitution from beginning to end at some point. What can foreign born run for? I mean, outside of unless the Constitution explicitly prohibits like foreign born nationals from holding office, from holding a office. See, like this is the part where I see like words really, really matter because states are still also beholden to the Constitution. So if there's such a provision in the Constitution that prevents foreign born people from holding a office period, and it doesn't specify what specific offices, like the presidency I know is definitely one where they laid out the restrictions for who can be president. If such a thing is actually written in the Constitution, then they can't hold state or federal offices. I don't believe so, but again, that's if that such a provision even exists. So I don't know. I have no idea. You got to go read the Constitution. Okay. I think from what I learned, presidents and vice presidents have to be American born. Man, if only I was born in the greatest country of all time. Hell. Hey Bisky, welcome aboard. Nice to meet you. I'll give it a quick Google search real quick and let's see. Can a foreign born person be selected as vice president? Because I think the president is the one that selects the vice president, and I don't think there's any restrictions on that. To become president or vice president of the United States, a person must be a natural born citizen. Oh, I guess so. I guess they do lay that out in the in the Constitution. Well, damn. Natural born citizen. Natural born citizen refers to someone who was a citizen at birth, did not blah blah blah. Under the 14th Amendment Naturalization Clause in the Supreme Court case of this, anyone born on U.S. soil and subject to jurisdictions is a natural born citizen, regardless of parental citizenship. Excuse me. This type of citizenship is referred to as a birthright citizenship. One can be a citizen while not being a natural born citizen if, for example, that person gains citizenship through the process of naturalization. In some rare cases, a person born from the United States may not be a citizen if that person is not subject to U.S. jurisdiction. And one can mark this record identify two specific examples of people not subject to jurisdiction: people born of alien enemies in hostile occupation, children of diplomatic representatives. Diplomatic representatives? Oh, okay, I get it. Wow. They can get hold in. Like if a diplomat comes visit the U.S. and knocks up a girl here, that child is not, even though that child is not going to be considered a citizen. That's crazy. Let's see. Biscuit, greatest country of all time. Yeah, hey, like it or hate it, there's still a lot of opportunity here in the U.S. if you get lucky. At the very least, you can get lucky. If you can get lucky, you avoid all the pitfalls and you work really hard. Yeah, you could be in a pretty good shape compared to other places for sure. My trip when I spent all of 2022 in Egypt, that was like a really good example of that. You really don't understand until like you really visit all the other countries and you just really see how well you have it here in the U.S. compared to some places. Even though the U.S. is a far cry from being perfect, right? Our healthcare system is trash, absolute trash, the most trashiest thing on the planet. But there are other things it does have its highlights. So let's see. Natural born citizens have all the same privileges as this to become president or vice president, blah, blah, blah. The Constitution does not express, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So can naturalize. I'll say this. Natural born or has a Supreme Court rule specific. There's some certainty whether a person that is born outside the U.S. will still become citizen at birth through a statute is a natural born citizen. Passes. One example is U.S. citizenship that immediately passes from the person's parents. Nobody here likes Trump. That's funny. He funny though. Thank God. No offense. Oh, and you're from Canada. Well, hey, welcome. Glad to have you. I'm gonna give one more quick Google, and then we gotta go back to reading these statutes real fast. Let me think about this. Can a naturalized citizen hold public office? Okay, I know this. I know this for a presidential candidate, but let me see. Requirements to hold public office. Here we go, right? I'll use Utah's as a good example. I think Utah should be good. And U.S. state, the U.S. Senate probably will also be a good one too. Let's use the Senate here. 3 qualifications for service in the U.S. Senate: at least 30 years of age, a U.S. citizenship, at least 9 years, and a residency in the state. Okay, so yeah, so there you go, right? If these are the only 3 requirements, then yeah, right? So once you become a U.S. citizen, you have to be a U.S. citizen for 9 years, right? Because it'd be strange to like spell out that requirement if it was only available to natural born citizens, right? Because then you would have been a citizen the whole time, and that would have been the case. Wait, you need to search this up. Barron Trump. Sure. Give me 1 second here. I am already a citizen. So yeah, so as long as you've been a citizen for 9 years, you can make it as high as the Senate. Presidency and vice presidency, probably not, but at least the Senate. So if it's good in the Senate, then it should be good anywhere else. Barron Trump. What do we search for Barron Trump? Who is that? Melania Trump on shooting. Ascend above the hate. Oh, that's cool that she made a statement. That was a really nice. That's a classy statement too. But who is Donald Trump's son? Barron Trump. What about Barron Trump? Barron Trump to step into the political arena as a Florida. Barron Trump was picked by the Republican Party of Florida as one of the state's at-large delegates to the Republican National Convention. Okay, go to images. Oh boy. Jesus Christ. He does that smirk makes him look definitely like a extremely miniature young version of Donald Trump himself. The boy is tall. Jesus Christ. That man is tall. The sad face. I mean, he seems pretty. He seems pretty like chill, I guess. Probably gonna follow in his father's footsteps. Look, they already got it. Look, see, I didn't even type anything. They just got it in there. Height. Barron Trump 6'7". Good Jesus Christ. There's no 6'9". They're saying 6'9". Although this was when he was 18 years old though, right? Because I think you stopped growing at like around 21. Let's look at this. Barron is either 6 feet 7 inches or 6 feet 8 inches. So he's 6'8". Bro, that's crazy. He's like a third of the way from hitting 7 feet. Oh, he's attractive. I mean, he looks young, right? His hair looks much more real than Trump's does. So, and he's super tall. So, I mean, hey, right? Definitely, definitely, good looking guy. I tell you what, he looks a lot better than the Trump assassin. That's for sure. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just it's the truth, right? At least he's not shaped like a piece of candy. Whatever that Halloween thing was, I can't even remember what it's called. And a hard one. I don't even. That sounds like a pause moment. So I don't even know what you even referred to with that statement there. Maybe I was speaking too fast. And yeah, I feel bad for Trump. No one deserves to go through that. Yeah. The assassin thing, the assassination thing is absolutely crazy. For sure. But he survived, so that's awesome. That's good. Look what I said above. Okay, let me see. Yeah, you're right. You made a whole thing, and I think, Bro, why is because I clicked through my thingamabob here. Okay. Stop it. I think it would require a constitutional amendment. I think changing this would involve a proposal by 2/3 of both. Come on. I'm going too fast here. 2/3 of both houses of Congress and or a constitutional convention called for by 2/3 of state legislators, followed by ratification by 3/4 of the state legislators or conventions. So that's a long ass process. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's a hard one. It's just an impossible one. Do you see all the rhetoric about immigration? Like you most certainly would be a target. Like why would they sit there like want to allow immigrants to be able to become president eventually? So oh look, I didn't see what you were saying. Okay, like I'm sorry. All right, pause, bro. My heart stopped, I swear. Oh, like the assassination attempt. Yeah, I mean it was pretty bad. At first I didn't believe it at all. I'm sitting there like there's no way Secret Service allows somebody to get close enough with a gun to be able to get it. But don't you think documented citizens, see, you're going to finish that sentence there. And while you're doing that, let me just get to the last statute here. But it sounds like to me that like 515 is probably just the statute that's all that's needed for the attorney general to be able to appoint a special counsel. If a foreign, like I said, if a foreign counsel can get it, I don't see why a regular attorney can't as well. Let's see, but don't you think I actually am so weird, but I cried because I was worried for them. I actually am so weird, but I cried because I was worried for them. Aw, well, it's good that they yeah, it's good that that he was all right. Like I said, nobody, no matter like how you feel about them, should go through anything crazy like that. Documented immigrants, I mean, um, yeah, but like you know the presentation, right? Remember, it's not just that we have illegal immigrants. It's just that you know, immigrants are changing the what do they say? Like, what is it? Changing the blood of the country or something like that. Whatever that rhetoric is, that you know goes against that basically just goes against immigration, and it's crazy, right? Because Donald Trump used the process to get, I think, Melania's parents to become U.S. citizens, if I'm not mistaken. So it's crazy. Now let me tell you, I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. Oh, I love it. I love the Kendrick diss. Bisky, real quick, tell me who won the rap battle? Kendrick or Drake? Um, Drake. I would actually say Drake, and I have a couple of reasons for that. With the biggest one just being for the simple fact that it was never truly a 1v1. That's one of the biggest things. Well, one, right? It was never truly a 1v1, right? Because remember, Drake, one of the things I think that hamstrings what he likes kids. Look, do I really want to divert my attention on this? I should, but okay, let me finish my point, and then I'll get right to that, right? So it was never truly a 1v1. So one of the things is that I definitely do strongly feel about the whole thing is that like he was hamstrung, right? Kendrick got to make all of his diss tracks specifically about Drake, and so he was able to cater it exactly how he wanted to. Drake had to sit there not only respond to Kendrick but to respond to all those other people too, and so what made his music hard to catch on, like Kendrick's songs is good, don't get me wrong, Kendrick's songs is good, but what made Drake's songs hard to catch is just that simple fact that he did 3 beat switches just because he had to sit there, address Kendrick, address a few other people, do a complete beat switch, address all these other people, then do another beat switch to go back to Kendrick. And so like that's what like probably like what killed him. My man got with a 17-year-old. Kendrick is a legend. I've always loved him. Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor. So do I really want to get into this? I don't know if I want to get into this. I don't know if I want to get into this. But if you go to my YouTube channel, I don't even know why I even posted that in there, because I could just simply just actually just go to a specific video. there's a specific video I made. As a matter of fact, hell, you know what? I will grab the link, but I'm actually going to go to my notes. Nah, bro, just say Kendrick won and move on. But the problem is that Kendrick, like, when you actually look at all of the facts, Kendrick, like, most of what Kendrick's saying was outright lie. It was either outright lie or it was super stretched. Like, it was really stretched. And the thing is like, look, when I started my stream research, this was the very first research video. So just heads up, this was the very first research video I made, right? So it's not like it's very well polished, but one thing I can promise you though is all backed by facts, right? Because I sat there and my notes section is public too, so anybody can go to the notes that I had published on it, right? Where I sat there and I dug through every single allegation that Kendrick made, not every single, but just about all of them, all of the popular ones that was being made at Drake. At like, there's links to every single piece of evidence I used, and it's all either extremely stretched out or it's actually an outright lie. Like, some of the stuff is actually an outright lie. One of those ones, for example, like there was this one girl that they said that he FaceTimed when she was 16. It was like one of those Canada models. But when you actually go to the article, it's actually like some trickery that the article did, because the article sat there and talked about like when she was 16 doing this, and then they sneakily mentioned like how like their what was it? How like she had this issue with her mom, and so her mom separated, and then like, and the thing is that the mom then later says that she didn't talk to her daughter for like a year or two, and then it goes to how then like then the girl was receiving a FaceTime from Drake. So when you look through it, you would have thought, damn, Drake is FaceTiming a 16-year-old girl. But if the mom was away from the daughter for 2 years, and then, or 1 or 2 years, and then like made up with the daughter, and then she's in her car when she gets the FaceTime for Drake, then that means that the girl's definitely not 16. Like, it was just like we were digging down, like we was literally digging down to actually catch all the stuff. I can't support that. Let's see. No, he does like kids for real. I can't support that at all. What was the age of consent where he lives? The age of consent where he lives in Canada. And like I said, I posted the video that should have, like, if you go to the description, it'll have the links. You'll be able to come right here. Canada, age of consent is 16, right? So, and this was a thing, right? Everybody was making a violation of the law argument. That's one of the things I said in the video, because I had to make that clear when I got to the concert video. When I got to the concert video, I made it very clear. Everybody, these allegations, Kendrick is making a violation of the law argument. Everybody that's Kendrick's fans is making a violation of the law argument. Nobody is making a moral argument. And moral arguments are what I stay away from, because you can't pin down morality across countries, right? Across cultures, right? I think you shouldn't do something doesn't mean that what you think you should or shouldn't do like has any weight on like who's actually right or wrong, right? Everybody lives their own ways differently the way they do. But I don't think it's legal for a 30-year-old to sleep with a 16-year-old. But the thing is, he didn't. That's the whole point. We sat there unbiasedly going through each one, and I live streamed, right? I live stream my research too. So you could actually see how I started off. I was unbiased, and then I was starting to get ticked off after each point of like data point that we were sitting there going through, because it kept on turning out that at face value something would get close, but then either we would find out that it's either stretch or an outright lie. And it was like that for every single one of these situations that we were sitting there looking up. This is great. But it's just at the end of the day, it's just facts. I just stick with the facts, right? Like that's just what it is. Like if there was any real evidence of him actually like doing anything with like a minor, then I'd have a different opinion of it. But every single piece one that we did. So what did he actually do with the 16-year-old girl? Which one? Which 16-year-old one? Right? Because Millie Bobby Brown was 14 when she met Drake at one of his concerts. And I said, then I went through the whole thing of like how does this a random 14-year-old girl gets to meet him, right? And then it turns out that this wasn't just like some like he did he actually do anything? Like, unfortunately, as far as the evidence shows, he didn't actually do anything. It's just that's just the fact of the matter. Millie Bobby Brown specifically, that a lot of people like to use, like she's not like some regular like 14-year-old girl either. This
this girl was a superstar. She was an upcoming like superstar. And so like that was like the what you want to say, like the way that she was able to meet Drake at his Australian concert, because this was at an Australian concert. This is good actually, but it's still creepy. I'm sorry. No, don't get me wrong, right? You can argue that, like, you know, it's just kind of weird that like he sits there and like he's talking to children. You can think that if you want. Just the fact of the matter is, like, in Millie Bobby Brown's case with the whole mentorship thing, like everything checked out. Her parents, I even like did a slight dive in her parents. Her parents, so like I don't know if you know this, but like when it comes to like when it comes to not necessarily modeling agencies, but basically when you're looking for work to like in some public space, whether that's modeling, acting and things like that, you work for an agency. You pay the agency in order to actually have them go get you work. Her father was so involved in taking care of her, making sure she was good. He wanted the agencies to pay her to get her work. Right? It was like the other way. He was on top of it. There was some incident where like some random guy was saying that he was sleeping in the same house as her while she was like 16, and her parents were all over that. So like this idea that you can do something crazy and sus with a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old that has heavily involved parents and think nothing is going to leak, right? It's crazy. It's just mind-boggling. It really is. Let's see. Should have went to law school. I just like to I just read. That's just all it is. Like, you know, I just don't like his vibes. And hey, you know, poor Millie, she was just a kid. Yeah, but it sounds like he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything wrong to her. Her parents were all over protecting her. Like, and that's just where it just ended. And the thing is, one of the very first things I said in my video too is that, like, if you can't imagine, if you can't imagine any interaction with an adult and a minor that doesn't have to be sexual, I'll say it just like I said in my video. You're going to need to go talk to a shrink before you get old, and that manifests into a different problem. That's verbatim what I said in that video. Because like Drake, in his position and status, has a lot to offer her mentorship wise for a girl like that was blowing up the way she is. This girl had a Sims character. Like, she had a Sims character made out of her. She was on Times Magazine as like one of the top 100 like influencers when she was like 15, and like all these different things. Like, this was not no regular girl. And like the idea that her parents would be in a position to be able to help her navigate with 100% effectiveness the kind of level of fame and stuff that she's going through, right? It's just crazy to me, right? Drake had the whatchamacallit, the hot sauce girl. I don't know if you know about like the hot sauce girl with Drake, right? But just think of it, right? Drake had like consensual sex with like some Instagram model or whatever, right? And use the condom. He goes and he throws hot sauce inside the condom after he's done so he can kill the sperm and throws it in the trash, and then he leaves, right? And then the girl tries to go take the condom out. She don't know about the hot sauce and then inject herself with the semen, right? Like, these are the life experiences that superstars go through that we will never understand, right? And so he is in a great position to sit there and warn her about all of the crazy things that comes with the amount of fame, fortune, and attention that she gets. It's just crazy. Let me see where you got it. Right. Nah, it's all good. High school teachers hang out with teenagers all the time. It's just the way you go about it that matters. This is true. Yes, it goes the way it matters. What about the other girl? How old was the model at the time? My mom is a huge Drake fan. I'm not kidding. That's funny. I don't remember. I just remember that the Instagram girl, she was definitely planning on suing. Let me see real quick. Instagram hot sauce girl Drake age. Of course, right? I can't even search it like that and know. Was Drake wrong for putting hot sauce? Okay. Hot sauce girl lawsuit Drake. Let's see. Hot sauce accounts potential legal issues. Let me go like this. Hot sauce girl age. Let's take out the lawsuit part and say Drake real quick. Wait, yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna say, because I don't even think the identity is even. I don't even think the identity of the girl is even like known.
Um, yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm not gonna be able to. I'm probably not gonna be fine because I don't even think you even know the identity of the girl. So just throw the condom in the toilet. I've actually heard that condoms actually sometimes get caught because there's actually a little thing. I remember this when I remember seeing like a diagram of like the inner workings of the toilet. There's something there to actually like keep like certain sized stuff that can't just break away from just going through into the pipe system, and so there's a chance that it can get caught and then the water will just push it back out. So why did Kendrick make the allegations if he didn't do anything? Because it's all about perception. That's no. It's just all about at the end of the day, like this battles, like rap battles, like hold on, rap battles period are just all about perception. It doesn't matter whether it's truthful or not. Do you know like how many times like they they said that this they say something crazy like you either like you smashed your mom or like you sitting there like you sleeping with your sister or something like that, or you got an inbred family or whatever insult you want to do. It doesn't matter if it's like actually true or not. It's all about perception. Period. It hits harder when you use truth, but it's just all about perception and just what just sounds good. And the thing is that Drake, just with the amount of media coverage stuff he just has had so many so many allegations of just perceptual like showings of him doing something with with somebody underage, like even the basketball girl, like the basketball girls, like being a fan of the high school basketball girls, bro. We looked at that interview, right, because there was actually a lot more to it than what the clip chits was showing, and we even looked at the school. And even the school itself wasn't even normal. The school, bro, the school that the high school basketball girls, that whole thing was like coming out about, bro, the school had like so many super famous people that either came from that school or were attending that school. LeBron James' son was even attending that school, bro. Like it was just like, it was so crazy to me that everybody was ignoring all this stuff and not actually looking at all of the actual facts of the stuff that we were actually seeing. Like, and I went through every single piece of it, and my notes that is publicly accessible has links for every single piece of stuff. Now, again, and I'm going to say this, and I'm keep saying this, right? Very first research video, right? So quality is going to be the very, very like bottom of the video, but the notes are like somewhat decent, right? And it's just, they may not be like well flowing, but like I said, all the hyperlinks are there, all the documents are there, you'll be able to look at it. Sorry, but I'm getting a bad vibe. But he did hang around 17-year-old girls though. Yeah, but like, I mean, but that in itself isn't illegal, right? And then the thing is too is that what's the context around that? Like especially with famous people. Famous people live in completely separate bubbles from what all of us live in, right? Like it can't be that just because like somebody's not the age of 18 that all of a sudden like interacting with them or being with them is something crazy, right? How do the child actors even like attempt to have a regular life then, right? If all the adults have to shun them and just and be like, yeah, nah, I'm sorry, like you're not 18, right? What about the voice actors for all the Disney movies and stuff? You don't think like these people don't also interact with the regular adults? Like that's what was like always. That was the things that just always came in. Like these people, these networks, the super famous networks, they just operate completely different. Me and you might not have any reason why we just randomly hang out with a 17 or 16-year-old, but super famous people that's in movies, that's in music, that all this modeling, all this other stuff, bro. They get exposed to these people all the time. Modeling especially, right? Because modeling is all about sex appeal. Right, so we all know sex appeal is all about it tracks really closely to age. So let me see. Drake just needs to leave the music scene right now. I'm sorry, but he lost. Yeah, I just watch it. It's just because a lot of people just don't actually believe in the facts. That's why we looked through it to see, and we saw that all of it was just crazy. And then the crazy thing is, what's so bad about it? Here, look. Only reason why I'm even going to play this. Hold on 1 second here. Okay. Only reason why I'm even going to play this is just so I could just make something like very, very clear to you. Unconfirmable. It's unconfirmable. But
as far as the level of depth and breadth of evidence that we were finding, right? My God. Let me see here. What did I put it in? I had put it in. God, see, this is why I don't even throw it in the screen. Cause see, it just likes to just freeze over there for whatever reason. Hold on. This will take me like 30 seconds to pull this up. Bro, where is? Hold on. Your content, research. No, not that one. You just give me a second. I'm about to show you something that's about to like just. Oh yeah, when you look at this, you're gonna be like, bro, there's just no way about to change. You're about to change your perception of just like what evidence is actually out versus what isn't. Oh wait, do I have it in a different? I might actually have it in a different folder. I think I actually do have it in different. I think I have it in this one. Resources, stream research, Kendrick. Yeah, here we go. All right. Do you know what I mean? That's true, but you have to realize that it's weird to the public because yes, no. I'm not disputing that at all. Okay, I just gotta wait for a second to download because it was in my cloud. I'm not disputing that at all. That it wouldn't be weird to everybody else, and that's what I mean by like as far as the perception battle goes. He lost. Like the perception, there's so much perception. Nobody's gonna want to like deal with any facts and stuff, and so like it is what it is. And then you got your hard meat writers on the Drake side, right? They'll defend every single thing that he does or makes it look like. And then the same thing on the Kendrick side, right? So, but here, let's listen to this real quick.
So she ended up pressing charges, I think. Last thing I heard, and I had to do a huge report, and then hopefully I didn't have to.
Unconfirmable, but
I didn't sock him. No, I didn't meet him.
Of all the different things that we were pulling up, this one was the most credible thing against Kendrick.
I met all of his friends because they were all trying to get into that room, and then we had to detain anyone trying to get in the room because the cops made us lock it out.
No, wait a second. I got a little behind. Are you telling me that this particular rapper had like a large group of
He had like
people
7 rooms
with him, like really, like an entourage?
Yep. I'm gonna get so in trouble for telling this story.
At the Hard Rock, we had to physically apprehend.
Okay, I'm gonna rat someone out.
Yeah.
So Memorial Day weekend, it was Memorial Day or?
She's about to actually get to it right now, right? So she's saying that, right? She's saying that she was at an event, right? And this is actually, she is allegedly a security guard at a particular event. I don't know, like, if you know the allegation, right? But we actually was able to find this video of this lady, right? Again, unconfirmable, but she's a security guard at a particular hotel. And she said there's this rapper with a large entourage. Now listen, and here's the part where now she gets into it, right? Minute and 46 seconds
It
left.
was fight weekend. I don't remember.
Oh, they're both. There was a big UFC fight. There's always a big UFC fight
Well,
Memorial
no, it
Day
was
weekend.
Memorial Day weekend, and then it was fight weekend, and then Memorial Day weekend. And I don't remember. I think it was Memorial Day.
I know I was there for a fight on Memorial Day weekend.
Whatever. Anyways, so I get dispatched up to one of the rooms.
Dispatched, that's lingo. That's tactical insight.
I'm gonna end up talking in code.
She was told to.
Yeah. The call came over the radio.
I got told to go up to her room to help some girl get down to the casino because she was scared. She ends up being all bloody and everything.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, it was lovely. So I'm like,
She's helping a girl get out of the scene somewhere because she's all bloodied, right? Remember what she said, right? This girl is all bloodied.
oh crap. And so I had to call like my supervisor, then I had to call my other supervisor, then I had to call my boss, and I was like, we got a situation because like half of her face was like blown out pretty much.
Oh,
so
God.
I'm like, oh, lovely. And come to find out, she was with a certain rapper who had assaulted her.
Was his first name Lil?
No.
That'll narrow it down.
His first name was Kendrick.
Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah. Wait.
Right? Now look, I keep it fair, on both sides. I keep it fair on both sides. With just this video, It's unconfirmable, right? Like I said, when I did my research, I promise you, hey, physically bloodied, right? Whatever you think that could possibly mean other than anything physical, right? Or bloodied, right? But here's the thing, right? And I'm gonna reiterate this, right? Have no way, because I found the video, but for the life of me, I can't find the woman. I can't find any information about it. I did catch, there was an interview that Kendrick gave to the Breakfast Club where he denied these allegations. And then there was a news article. There was an article I came across where somebody had said that there was a cease and desist letter or something like that, or like they basically like it was a company that. So what Drake said in his family matters things about hiring a company to do it, like there was actually some unconfirmable, but there was some evidence that we were catching that looked like that maybe that could have been the case, right? But hold on. Before you sit there, you jump to conclusions, right? Before you jump to conclusions, it's still unconfirmable. At the end of the day, just like with the Drake stuff, and that was the point I was getting at, right? Is that, but the thing is, like you see, we have somebody who goes on camera, facing everything, saying that they were the bodyguard, that they saw this, and then dropped the name, like. You know what I'm saying? But then when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to look for evidence for Drake stuff, bro, it's all just like it was all literally just like it was nothing like this. It was like as far like and this is even unconfirmable. You see what I'm saying? This is unconfirmable, right? But I wasn't finding any evidence at this kind of quality where I was like getting somebody like actually like standing on 10 toes, right, on camera to sit there and say that this and this happened. Come on. You know what I'm saying? And then we live in like such a litigious society where like people be quick to sue you for money, right? Because remember, people get our justice system, and that was another thing that they got on Drake about, right? When he said that he's too famous to have done all these things. Not understanding that our justice system allows people to get two forms of justice. You either get justice or you get money, right? You get justice or money. And the thing is that a lot of people usually opt for the money. It's a lower burden of proof. And a lot of times, even if the person didn't do it, sometimes you can scare them enough to be like, that they'll just settle, right? This is why, right? Because people always say that, oh, you know, that can't be the case because, you know, look at R. Kelly. How long it took R. Kelly to get locked up? Look at Jeffrey Epstein, right? Or whatever name. And then they're like, yes, she could still be a Drake fan. It's fine. But then they'll sit there and ignore R. Kelly. R. Kelly's first lawsuit was like in I think 1995 or 1996, right? You're years, so many years before like the actual stuff that actually puts him in jail. Like Michael Jackson had to settle the lawsuit like in around 2000 for like I think like what was it, like 60 million, 90 million, something like that, right? Jeffrey Epstein, he was in jail. He was actually in jail before for the same type of shit, right? And then he got into this jail in that incident that he ended up like just offing himself over. Like this is what I'm saying. Like these people already had stuff in black and white where it was undisputable that yeah, you was a certified weirdo, period, right? None of that exists with Drake, and that was the bottom line I was getting at. Let's see, but those reasons are deemed useless in the end of the day, right? Yes, you're absolutely right, right? When they make those reasonings, yes, right? Because nobody cares about the facts, and that's just the point of the matter. And it sucks, especially for Drake, that everybody sits there and says that, you know, he lost when there's so many different, like when you actually look down at it, it just there's so many reasons you could sit there and say that nah, like he went through, but you know, it's just, you know, it is what it is. I'm not like, you know, taking a hard stance on it. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you want to tell me that, hey, who had the better like raps, like catchy raps and stuff like that, I would say Kendrick. But just the fact of the matter that you had to sit there and you're battling somebody who's primarily like a singer. I don't even know if you classify Drake as a rapper. And the fact that he was sitting there and he was holding his own against Kendrick and other people, like come on. And the fact that he is like going after other people, right? It's not like Kendrick has to split his performance or anything to address other people, right? He gets to just go at Drake, focus on Drake, fine tune at Drake, right? Make everything quality product to Drake, while Drake has to sit there and he has to address, and he can't fine tune it to just Kendrick, right? He has to sit there, he has to split his attention, his resources, and all that to everybody around there. So everybody else, right? ASAP Rocky, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, all those people that he had to sit there, he had to address. It was crazy. That gave me a new perspective. At least I'm pretty sure Trump likes kids, but I don't know for sure. Well, I mean, like all I'll sit there and just say is that actually Trump would be a perfect example, right? Everything is just allegations until it gets proven, until like you get hard evidence proven in court, right? And then what happened to Trump? Like the New York case, right? The lady won her lawsuit thing, and that one video of Trump is like really bad, where he was showed a photo of a woman. He's like, oh, because he was making an argument that the girl that's alleging that that he did what he did to her, that is not even his type, so he wouldn't even have been attracted to begin with. When he was shown that photo and he was asked who's in that photo, and he was like, oh, that's my wife. And then the photo of the person was actually that woman that he's saying that wasn't her type, that he wouldn't have done anything to. Like after that, I was just like, bro, like this is this is crazy. There is a statement that Trump, that one, the 10-year, yeah. I read Trump what he said about his daughter. Oh yeah, like if he was yeah, I date her too. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. All right. And it's just like I can't. It is what it is. Oh shit, it's already 1 a.m. I am not staying up all night this time. All right, by the way, right? I'm actually operating only off of like maybe 2 hours at best of sleep from yesterday. His daughter on Diddy. Oh my god. I mean, she's attractive. That's all I'm gonna sit there and say. Brian is the only good thing about Trump. He's like, boy, yeah, bro, like, I don't like Trump, but his daughter can get it. That's exactly what you just said. Jesus Christ, man. Simping in chat. Yeah. Ivanka. Jesus, boy, you boys are crazy. You boys are just wild. I don't even know what I even want to do anymore. But yeah, like if you ever do have a second, I actually do suggest you don't have to sit there and watch a 25-minute video. I wouldn't watch it myself. Just and that's the video I made, right? Just go ahead and if you go to the notes section in that video, you could sit there and you could look at all of the different articles that I linked, like all these stuff right here, like these are all linked to like specific articles, whether that's Wikipedia, news articles, videos, right? And
Hell yeah! A brother just hopped on the train for our Twitch movement. Better be speaking some damn English, motherfucker.
Thank you for the follow, Bisky. Appreciate it. Welcome aboard. And yeah, just like I said, at the end of the day, it changes nothing, but at least like when you're armed with the facts, at least you're not a sheep, right? If you come to whatever conclusion you make, because at the end of the day, it's always subjective, right, on who won and whatnot. But as long as you at least know the actual truth and the actual facts on it, you won't get roped in and considered sheep like everybody else, because at least you would actually know and you'll be educated, right? Doesn't matter like whether people like your opinions or not and how you feel, right? At the end of the day, it's just, are you making an informed decision? You're not lied to. That's the only thing I ever worry about. Just don't be lied to. That's it. Just don't be lied to. And that's why, I could have sat there. I could have easily been like a Drake meat writer and said, oh, this video changes everything. This, it's all day. Like, no, right? Like, because at the end of the day, I'm unbiased and I stick with like the facts and the information that I can actually verify myself. And while that video compared to all the other things that I come across is pretty damn good and pretty damning, it's still unverifiable at the end of the day. So, it is what it is. Oh, Jesus Christ, you got more images? You know what? Hell, let's actually pull it up. Is this a Baron? Oh yeah, that tall video. I mean, this man is a goddamn giant. Look at this guy. Jesus Christ, man.
You guys are crazy. Um, for the road boys. Sure. Let's look for a Baron. Let me see. You guys are something. Bro, look at that. Hold on. Let me go back. Did you even see it? Look, even that looks kind of cool. Like, I even like that. Like, see, like how like his little head thing just like pops up and stuff. Like that man that man is like A tier or S, fans S tier, sure. Like, but at bare minimum A tier for sure. Let me see if I find a good photo. And he definitely does resemble a lot of like his father. And the thing is, I think I remember seeing one or two photos of Trump when he was young, and I don't even think he even looked anything like this. So this is probably the thanks of like, you know, not so much of his genes as it is his mom. I think I'm in love mentally. I joined the Discord. I appreciate Bisky. Like I said, we're gonna you know, we're gonna continue to grow our stuff and try to get our things popping. All right. So but yeah, like yeah, see, I think this is him a little bit younger, but like even then, just nothing like it. Yeah, like see, like this, like he like goddamn superstar. Okay, I love Ivanka. I love Baron. I want him. Oh, y'all are killing me. Jesus Christ, y'all are wild. Stop it. All right. You both are crazies. All right. You both are crazies. All right. Jesus Christ, man. Well, hey, I tell you what, for you that want some, well, actually, for the both of you, actually, um, well, no, I don't think we violated anything quite yet. We've gotten close, but not quite. So I think we're good there. The VOD shall be saved. And this is probably going to be, I will probably save this section at some point, like with the rest of those videos, that I have, right? And just so you know, right, the only reason why these are like dated out so far is just because like I was like teaching myself how to do like, that's not what I wanted. Go back. Teaching myself how to do thumbnails and whatnot, and I was just using this learning practice. So that's why they're kind of far out there. But like once they start going, I'm not obviously scheduling anything like out that far anymore. So we'll see. Brian lost his whole mind. Brian lost. You guys are so crazy, man. This is crazy. No, my reputation. I just have one don't worry, we're not big quite yet, right? So until I do something crazy or messed up where they start digging up like these videos, you should be you should be all right. Not only that, but it is only your Twitch. So if it ever comes out, you could just say that it was your cousin or something that's using your account, or you could just make a whole new account. This is the beginning. I just have one crush. My man's has a whole fantasy. Oh my god. But yeah. So that is that. I'm probably actually going to even end it here. Probably because I don't think there's anything else I kind of had slated. Like we went over the court stuff. I think 28 USC 515 is going to probably be the main authority. It gives special counsel the ability to appoint or give the attorney general ability to appoint special counsel. And then everything else is just stuff that allows them to just delegate or do this and that. May appoint officials. Oh yeah, there's appoint officials. So, yeah. So I'm gonna close all these other tabs because I don't need all these tabs open. Hold on. Close other tabs. Bam. I've made a severe and continuous lapse of my judgment. Yeah, dudes. Good night. All right. Good night, Visky. Thank you for joining the team and the Discord too. I really appreciate it. And hope to catch you again next time. I don't think I have nothing much else I'm going to go over tonight. So unless anything happens over the week, I am going to sweet dreams about Ivanka. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Unless something happens over the week, I'm only going to be doing like technical streams, and by technical I mean like because I'm trying to fix some stuff, some
some functionality I have that apparently I can't do it offline, so I need to like have it streaming live in order for me to actually fix it. So I'll try to do that early so that we don't get it confused with like an actual full stream. But yeah, no, I appreciate everybody. Our next like big stream will probably be Friday. I'll probably do it Friday. We'll see what happens. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by. It was an awesome stream. Went over and found some really good information. Oh yeah, look, see, here's our Trump shooter. There's our Trump shooter guy. Like I said, that shape of that head, man. Jeez, man. But anyway, you know, we'll be ugly boy. Jesus. I would dream about Baron. Bisky. W. Bryant. Well, all right, guys. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. God, he looks so spineless retarded. Oh man, he was really going at that boy. I want everybody to take care. Remember, violence is never the answer, and always be informed, make smart decisions, right? But make sure you do it with all the information that you can get, right? Try to stay away from making decisions when you don't have much information, or you only have information that was just given to you, like sheep. Okay. And with that being said, you guys, you have a good night.
Will Almighty ever stop being trash? Can he ever not be sorry? Find out next time on Almighty's stream.